This summer, during the biggest sporting event of the year, Peacock turns to two broadcasting legends for the Olympics coverage you can't find anywhere else.
I think they mean us.
With an incredible duo sure to take home the comedy gold. Olympic Highlights with Kevin Hart and Kenan Thompson. New episodes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Only on Peacock.
This is The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Now, here's Frank Morano.
Good morning. I'm Dominic Carter. Frank Morano has the week off. Frank is on vacation with his family, his wife Rachel, his son Carmine. I spoke to Frank a short time ago the other day, and he's having a lovely vacation. I'm here with you until 3 a.m. this morning, and that's when my colleague Noam Laden comes in for the back half of the show. So the number to reach me right now is 646-720-0635. 646-720-0635. So in hour number 2, I am going to have a question for you folks as it relates to correction officers and some of the strange things that, in particular, female correction officers do relationship-wise, dating inmates, having sex with inmates. But we'll deal with that hour number 2. The first hour is something that I assure you is coming to the presidential race. It's already here. And it's George Floyd, the Minneapolis case, the protest, the Black Lives Matter protest, and so on. It's all that plus some. It's bubbling up right now. The Democratic candidate, the apparent Democratic candidate, Kamala Harris, she's not the nominee yet, has already reached out to the family, called the family of an African-American woman who was killed by police. The woman's name is 36-year-old Sonya Massey. And I want to hear from you folks, whether you're in St. Louis, whether you're in Detroit, or whether or not you're in Chicago, or any city, any place within the sound of my voice right now. And Springfield, Illinois is only a few hundred miles away from Chicago. So I really want to hear from you folks. And it has all the elements, this case, to resurrect the horrible, phony organization of Black Lives Matter. It has every element. I guess, folks, they're going to need some new mega mansions. All the elements to bring back Black Lives Matter. Multi-million-dollar homes. Baby daddies on payroll. All types of things. Black Lives Matter. Yes, I'm making fun, not of the cause, but of the clowns that run the organization. The clowns that should be in jail for stealing money and so on and so on and so on. But the woman, Sonya Massey, so she believes there's an intruder in Springfield, Illinois, at her home. She calls the police. The police come, deputy sheriffs, 2 officers, 2 white officers. She's African-American. They're having a decent conversation, but she's clearly, and I can talk about the mental illness aspect with my own mother, as I talk about who was a chronic paranoid schizophrenic, institutionalized straitjackets, heavy medication, the entire routine. That's what I had to watch growing up. And that's why I wrote a book about my experiences. And the book is titled No Mama's Boy, because all my life, I never had a traditional mother-son relationship with my mother. Father's Day meant absolutely nothing to me because no man was in my life. And Mother's Day was always tough because my grandmother was just like Senator J.D. Vance, he talks about his grandmother raised him, same thing with me. But I understand mental illness well, and that's what the book is about. It's about child abuse and mental illness. But this woman, so the police, after they realize there's no intruder, they come back to to her apartment, her house, and she opens the door and she says, "Don't hurt me." And she seems confused and repeated, "Please, God," and then stated, "I don't know what to do." You're going to hear the audio yourself in just a second. And again, the number to reach me, 646-720-0635. Kamala Harris has already called the family. Democrats are going to try and ride this all the way back to the White House, George Floyd again. And so the officers are there in the living room with her. Everything's fine. They're making little jokes. Everything's good. They asked the woman for her ID. Now, I can understand as a woman of color in her own home, the indignity of being asked for identification. I can understand how that didn't sit well with her. But she apparently looks for her ID. She tells the officer she can't find it. And then the officers, everybody's laughing. Everything is fine. And this proves how quickly it can go from 0 to 100. And the officers say, the stove is on, go turn off the fire. And she walks over to the stove, and there's a pot of boiling hot water. And her family is already being represented by Ben Crump. It really is a big deal, and there have been protests around the country. And she says something to the effect of, where are you going? And the officer that fired the fatal shot says, away from your hot, steaming water. And she says, away from my hot, steaming water, while holding the pot. She then says, and she's clearly having a mental health episode. She says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. The officer, everything changes. The officer's in jail as we speak with no bail, charged with first-degree murder. He says, you better not, or I swear to God, I'll blank in your face, as he draws his gun. The other officer standing a few feet behind him draws his gun as well. Again, she says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And it escalates. And then she says, I'm sorry, and ducks while raising the pot over her head as the officer shoots multiple times, fatally wounding her, hitting her in the head. As his colleague moves to get a medical kit from their vehicle, the shooting officer says, nah, she's done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot. And then he says, yeah, I'm good. This blank is crazy. This is what it sounded like.
Here, grab your ID for me.
Okay.
Your ID. One task at a time. So let's do an ID, and then you can dig around for your paperwork.
I don't know where my ID is.
You have that stack right there, maybe?
Okay. 1 second.
Check on her.
Let me get this.
No, we don't need a fire while we're here.
All right. Let me see. Okay. Where you going?
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I would rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of
You better not. I swear to God, I'll shoot you right in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the pot! Drop the pot! Drop the
15 shots fired.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Drop the pot! Three emails now. We got a headshot wound to the female. Headshot wound to the female. 1078.
So that's part one. And obviously those shots you just heard happen to be the fatal shots. So now other officers are responding. And one officer, you have to listen carefully to this next clip. One officer says, okay, where's the gun, right? Because the assumption is if you have to use deadly force, there's a gun or there's a knife. And the shooting officer says there was no gun. She had a pot of hot water. I want you to listen carefully to this, folks.
House is cleared. She was the only one.
Where's the gun?
No, she had boiling water and came at me with boiling water.
You shot her?
Yeah. She said she was going to rebuke me in the name of Jesus and came at me with boiling water. That's what all this is. I was standing right here.
And so that officer, as we speak, in Springfield, Illinois, is in jail. No bail, first-degree murder. Let's begin with your telephone calls. I'm taking your calls from throughout the country. The number to reach us here on the other side of midnight is 646-720-0635. Debbie in Connecticut. Debbie, what's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. I had a comment about the lady who was shot. Again, what we're talking about, the officer. It depends what she has, mental illness. I worked in the wards of mental illness at a lot of hospitals. And if she has schizophrenia, for instance, she can go in and out within seconds. So
absolutely,
he had only seconds. You're right. And he had seconds as well to make a decision.
But, Debbie, you're right. And I'm not Monday morning quarterbacking this. I'm really not. I'm simply pointing out there was enough distance. It appears. See, it's easy to say, it's easy for us to say, oh, this is Hollywood. Right. He should have reached behind his back and tackled her and then caught the pot of water before it hit the ground. This is not Hollywood. And so people's adrenaline.
Really bad.
And so
15 feet's a car length. Yeah.
It was maybe a little more than a car's length. But if she's holding, scalding, boiling hot water, it's a problem. Right. It's a problem.
And that man who called in he was so adamant how wrong the cop was. Does he have children? And if he wants to go home at night, why don't you, mister, put yourself in that position? I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, this is what happens, Debbie. Knee-jerk reaction. Whenever these cases happen across the country, and to you folks listening on WGN in Chicago, I really want to hear from you because Springfield's only a few hundred miles away from Chicago. But knee-jerk reactions. And so people, Debbie, they expect from me, I'm supposed to condemn and the police are wrong. And I'm not going to do that. I was not in that situation. How dare I or anybody else Monday morning quarterback?
And what kind of humans are we dealing with that vote, they're allowed to vote, are speaking like this about the man? I'm 68 years old, and I was always taught to put yourself in that position in anything in life.
Yes.
And then talk to me.
Yes,
so
exactly.
That's my opinion tonight.
Debbie,
yes,
thank you so much for the call. Let's go to Colorado. Let's say good morning to Dimitri. Dimitri, what's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. I just wanted to say that, you're approaching things from a calm and logical and objective point of view, and the left doesn't like that. And to your credit, you are a very well-educated man, and you're a danger to them because you don't fit their narrative. What they want is the French Revolution. They want a mere accusation to condemn this man. The man hasn't even had a trial yet. And this is what's going on. I believe that from the top to bottom in Washington. That if it doesn't fit their narrative, and if you don't side with them, well, then you along with that cop should be hung.
And you know what, Dimitri, you are correct. Your assessment. I have an obligation to tell the truth. Period. No matter where everything may fall. And I'm, it's very unfortunate that this woman lost her life. It's very unfortunate.
Absolutely.
She had a mental episode. I understand that real well. I know what can happen at the snap of a finger. You can be talking to them and everything is fine. And in the case of my mother, you could be talking to her, she's fine, and then she'll tell you that there's an elephant on the floor, and absolutely means it, and really believes that. You know,
Yeah, I guess.
Go ahead.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is that like I said, you're a danger to them because you think for yourself, and they don't like it. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Shouldn't, whether you're on the left or the right. And again,
absolutely.
And again, as someone pointed out on my Twitter, and you can send me a comment at Dominic TV or at X, as someone pointed out, about the fact that the Vice President Kamala Harris has already reached out to the family, calling the family of this woman. What about the phone call to the family of Laken Riley? The young lady that was killed allegedly by a migrant, raped and killed by a migrant.
All of them that was killed by migrants, all of them. That's who should be reaching out to, but she won't because it doesn't fit their political narrative. They're making this a race war. That's what they're doing.
Wow. Thank you so much for the call, Dimitri. We are going to take a break at this point. And we are going to come back in just a second. We see all of your calls coming in. This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano.
The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
When I see you on the street, my whole body gets weak. When you stand singing the crowd, your love talks to me so loud. Girl, do I do what you do?
And we are back. This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Dominic Carter filling in for Frank Morano. I'm here with you for the first 2 hours. And then my colleague, Noam Laden, will take over for the final 2 hours. Vice President Kamala Harris has already reached out to the family, calling the family of 36-year-old Sonya Massey, African-American woman having a mental health episode, fatally shot in her apartment, and it has everything that the mainstream media loves. We have black on black crime every day. Nobody says peep. Nobody says anything. Nothing. Nada. White police officer shoots a black person. It's the end of the world. The live trucks are here. The satellite radio is ready to go. Live on the hour. Live reports, the family members, the officer's family, the officer's background, second guessing the police. It goes on and on and on. And now this case is going into the presidential race. It's George Floyd 2024. And here's the truth. People don't want to hear the truth, but here's the truth. The Democrats are settling in, and they don't underestimate Kamala Harris. She plans on riding this case, the case of Sonya Massey, all the way to the White House. All the way. She's already measuring the drapes, and she's like, I got him. I got Trump now. Because they know, the Democrats know that white officers, black person killed, no matter what Trump says, he's the white candidate. That's the bottom line. And he's going to be on the defensive no matter what he says. And they know, so you have to understand, each camp, they're trying to set each other up. And we're going to talk about debates a bit later of how Kamala Harris is trying to bait Trump on the debate issue, that each camp goes back and forth trying to goat each other, to bait each other. And the question becomes, who can stay on message? Who can be disciplined the longest? That's the question. But in this case, they're going to bait Trump. He's going to have to comment. Someone's going to ask him something about this case. And no matter what he says, it's going to be a no-win situation. Let's go to Angel, line 8. Good morning, Angel. What's on your mind?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to tell you that I love you, Dominic. I think you're one of the best talk show hosts on the radio.
Well, thank you.
I love it that you're real, and I really get offended by these idiots that say that you're racist and you should be this way and that way. And you are the best.
Thank you.
You bring it and you kill it every time, and I love it. And I listen to you all the time. Anyway, I want to comment. I believe in my heart that the officer cold-blooded murdered her. He executed her. He could have ran away. He could have walked away. He could have de-escalated the situation, but instead he just acted crazy, and he has a history of other things that went on, in his work history. And, I don't know why they even hired this guy. He shouldn't even been a cop to begin with. And I feel so, it breaks my heart that what he did to this woman. He was in her house, and it was her domain, and he had no respect for her. And he just went off on her, Dominic, and he could have avoided it.
So, Angel, thank you for the comment and the compliment. So let me ask you this question. So I don't know specifically what the police academy trains them in this situation to do. Remember, this is the sheriff deputies department in Springfield that was handling this. So you say he should have ran, right? But then
I believe he should have ran.
Okay, but wait, Angel. But wait. Then what about the cop that was standing right to his right? He's leaving. He's leaving his comrade.
He had backup with him. He had two guys against one woman with a pot of boiling water that she didn't even use to attack him with. He just assumed that she was, because she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. He couldn't handle that. So he reacted, and in his mind, he thought he was going to get attacked, and he should have ran away. He should have walked away. It was her house. It was her house. But
police officers have been killed in people's homes responding to calls. Angel, but I hear you. I'll give you the final word before I move on to the next call.
Okay, so I just feel in my heart that the cop was 100% wrong. He could have done something else to de-escalate the situation. He didn't choose to. Instead, he executed her, Dominic, and it's really sad. It is very unfortunate. I back the blue and I, for the police, but in this particular situation, I believe he was 100% wrong.
Well, I hear you, Angel, and I respect what you're saying. Thank you for the call. But I too, God bless you too. I too back the blue. And I am not going to second guess anyone in this case. I'm going to wait and see how this turns out. And with the court system, the officer, as we speak, is charged with first-degree murder, no bail. He's in jail. It's so tragic. But then they were all talking to each other, the two officers and the woman. They're laughing. Everything was fine. And unfortunately, she had a mental health episode. And with the mentally ill, these things can happen. And according to Ben Crump, her lawyer, she was on medication. Don't know if she was up to date with all her medication. But, folks, here's what I'm trying to tell you. When you have mental illness, right? So the rest of us, we can look at this and we say, well, how could you get upset with police? You have to understand that when they're in an episode, and I know this is very hard to understand, the police officers that are standing in front of them, the mentally ill, they may see them as the people that are there to attack them. My mother used to talk about mice being on the table in the room next to her when none were there. So you have to understand, especially with chronic paranoid schizophrenia, which is what my mother dealt with, They see things that others don't see. They hear things that others don't hear. And most importantly, they hear voices that tell them to do things. And they're going to do it. A number of people that were arrested or fatally shot trying to enter the grounds of the White House, driving on the ground towards the grounds of the White House, really believed they were having a schizophrenia episode, and that's what happened. And that is what happened. Let's go to John on line 3. John, good morning. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Dominic, I normally don't call your show, or I always listen to your show, and but I had a call about this case because it really is destroying me very much.
I'm listening.
Yeah, so my point is, okay, so what she should have done, she had apparently mental issues, but when she called, she said there was a prowler around her property. She lives in a private house, right?
That's what authorities are saying. Yes, I don't know if it's a house or an apartment.
That's what I don't know either. Okay, anyway, so then I guess they came in the house after searching and they couldn't find nobody. So now they go in, and what I want to know, I don't know the whole case, but they were talking and laughing, you said, before
yes,
before this incident, and then okay, there was a pot of hot water. Now I'm hearing more of this when I said to myself, what she should have said, officers, I have a pot of hot water, let me turn the stove off. Now I'm hearing that she's picking the pot up and everything.
Okay, but John, John, I need you to stop for a second and focus. See, because wait. You're not hearing me on the mental illness aspect. You're telling wait. You're telling me what she should have said. If you understand mental illness, John, please, John, you're not understanding what I'm trying to get you to understand.
Go ahead.
You're telling me what she rationally should have done. People that are mentally ill, especially people that have not had their medication, it doesn't work like that. They go on impulse. They go on what the mind at that time tells them to do. You can
can I bring up another case?
Go ahead. Well, as long as it's quickly relevant, we have a lot of calls.
Okay, what about Sean Bell? The cops killed him. What was that all about?
What does the Sean Bell case have to do? Wait. What does the Sean Bell case? The Sean Bell case. The Sean Bell case. Wait a minute now. The Sean Bell case did not involve mental illness. Sean Bell. Wait a minute. The Sean Bell case. Wait a minute. The Sean Bell case, the man was going out the night before to his bachelor's party. I've interviewed his wife about 100 times.
Good.
But John, what does the Sean Bell case have to do with this?
Because the cops they're in the KK, even the black ones. The black guys down south.
That's it. You're done. Thank you. You're not going to stand here and disparage the men and women of law enforcement. I'm not going to tolerate that. They're not in the KKK. Where are you getting this from? Why do I get some of these callers? Do you really? This cop is in jail. Do you think he started out his day where he said, oh, I'm going to go threaten to shoot a black woman in the face, and then I'm going to shoot her in the face, and my shift is going to end with me charged with murder in the first degree, and my entire life is ruined? Folks, think about what you're saying. And if you don't make sense, please don't call me. If you don't make sense. Now, John and I, we're having a conversation, and he said, what she should have did. Okay, like woulda, coulda, shoulda. The woman is mentally ill, and we don't know if she had her medication that day. Okay? Here's the sad part of all this. The officers were trying to help her, telling her to go turn the fire off. And that's when it became a life-threatening situation, when she walked over into the kitchen and was standing in front of the stove with the pot of boiling, steaming hot water. That's when it became a very bad situation here. A very bad situation. Let's go to Jimmy, line 1. Good morning, Jimmy. What's on your mind?
Good morning, my Dominic. I hate these people. Well, not hate. I don't like these people that make you get your blood pressure up. I follow you all over the Facebook and whatever. I love you, and I know you a long time. Just moving along, I want to say this. Officer Dillard was shot, I believe, by a black man, right? President Trump went and paid respects while the other patient in the White House was collecting money in Midtown Manhattan. Now, why is it that we have to now quake in our boots, so to speak, because it's a white, moronic, idiotic cop who didn't? But I believe I should take that back because I have 2 family members that are lieutenants in the police department. But shoot her in the leg, do something. But I didn't think it had to end that way. But it did. Bad things happen all the time. I mean, I got married a long time ago. See, bad things happen all the time. But the thing I'm trying to get at is when is this racial thing going to stop? Why? Because it's black woman with a white cop who's an imbecile. Now, what are we going to do? Worry about wars and fighting and burning of cities? And there's no reason for it. It's a terrible thing that happened, and I feel bad for the cop because I think he acted on impulse. But the way Dillard told the guy, get out of the car, and shot him to death, 31 years old. He was even younger than this poor soul, okay? And he left behind a baby and a beautiful wife. Now, there's no rational answer anywhere in this mess. But we have to move on, and cool heads have to prevail. Kamala Harris is a waste, but she'll use this, like you said, right to the White House. And I don't know what else to say other than may the love of God protect each and every one of us, especially you, and that other moron that tried to speak so nice at the beginning went off on you. And I don't like it. I really don't. I'll be more than happy to be a bodyguard, Dominic.
Thank you, Jimmy, for the call. The only time in my professional career that I had to have bodyguards was when in television, a full-scale riot broke out in Brooklyn, and the TV station had hired off-duty police officers, and you would never know that they were bodyguards, but there were 2 assigned to me the entire time that I was out there reporting live because bricks were being thrown in the air and so on. And when you're on television and people see you live, they can love you or they can hate you. And if they love you, they want to kiss you. And if they hate you, this is their time to tell you what they think of you. And you say, ma'am or sir, I'm live in 30 seconds. I can't do this right now, but I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of you. So that was the only time dealing with bodyguards. And I didn't really like the experience. And I didn't like the experience either of being forced to wear bulletproof vests. So when I went to Somalia on assignment and we flew with the military as part of the insurance underwriters to insure our lives in case something happened to us while we were in Somalia, because you had the snipers. The military was at the Air Force. It wasn't really an airport. It was a man-made, and it didn't have showers. It was ugh. But anyway, and so we had to wear at all times a bulletproof vest, and if you didn't wear it, they wouldn't honor the policy. So we had to get these shots to go to Somalia, and in the nighttime, I think we stopped in Djibouti. At nighttime, these were secret American bases that no one could talk about because of the governments in that area. And at nighttime, it might be, I'm trying to figure, it may be 10 degrees. And at daytime, it was like 110. And I was delirious, folks, the moment that I arrived in Somalia. This is a true story. So back then, the bulletproof vests were not what they make now. They were very thick, and it was like, ugh. And I became delirious. So we landed in Somalia, and the first thing I said to the cameraman and the producer that I was with, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the corner store and go buy some water or something cold to drink. This is what I really said. And there is no store. There is no housing. It was the airport that the military had set up and put barracks there, and they were setting up showers. And we were eating, I forgot the name of it, these meals that leave you constipated. It's what the military uses. I forgot the name of it. When they're out in the field and everything is like packed into, so like if it's beef, it's packed into like a patty, and I forgot the name of these meals that you eat, and it's right at the top of MRE. That's the name of it. Thank you, Elias. Thank you, MRE. So I never want to see an MRE. They gave us as many of those as we wanted. And of course, I get to Somalia, and because of the temperature difference, I catch a cold. And so now, I haven't had a shower in a week, and we're reporting back, and we stop in Frankfurt, Germany, coming back to the military base there. And then that's when I was finally able to have a shower. This is The Other Side of Midnight. Dominic Carter here with you. Frank Morano has the week off. We are taking your telephone calls as it relates to this case of 36-year-old Sonya Massey. At the top of the hour, we're switching topics. But already Vice President Kamala Harris has reached out to her family. She's the African-American woman killed in her own apartment by police. She was having a mental health episode, and she went to stand near a pot of hot water. And she said to the officers, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." And the officer said something to the effect of, "You better not. I'll blank shoot you in your face." And that is exactly what happened. He's in jail, charged with first-degree murder, no bail. Let's go to Ascar, line 3. Good morning, Ascar. What's on your mind?
Yeah, how you doing? You do an excellent job, Dominic.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate for you providing us with this kind of broadcast. I appreciate that, and your excellent journalism. I think the police officer did their job excellent, because what happened was the lady has a hot water. That hot water could injure both of the officers. They were responding to a call. The ladies not complying. I think they did an excellent job. I think their life could have been hurt. We don't know what's the temperature of that hot water, and she's having an episode, but their life she created a hostile environment in her home. And she wasn't complying with the rules. She had no identification on her. She didn't comply with the rules, and they did the best. They did their job. The camera right now speaks for itself. I really don't understand why this police officer is in prison right now.
Well, somebody lost their life. 1, 2, the woman was having a mental health episode. And 3, he threatened to shoot her in the face, and that is exactly what he did. But Ascar, I do appreciate the call. Thank you very much. Let's go to Angel on line 1, apparently retired NYPD. Is that correct, Angel?
That is correct.
Okay, so now tell me, what do you think should have happened?
So I've been in those situations, Dominic. Unfortunately, to be honest with you, I love the men in blue, and the brothers and sisters in blue, and I support them all the time. But when I see something wrong, I have to call it as it is. And from what I saw in the video, on the body cam, there were 2 officers there. She was what we considered EDP, right? Emotionally disturbed person.
Yes.
You would never tell an EDP. Will you tell an EDP if you're in an apartment, "Hey, can you grab that knife and move it over"?
No, wait, you're right. That's a good point. You're right. You would.
Right?
So why would you send her over to the stove? But then again, they didn't want the apartment or the house to burn down.
No, correct. But then you have two officers. There was one by her, and there was the other officer. One of them could have easily walked over.
You're correct.
While the other one watched her. That's number one. Number two, his reaction to her. Remember, they have a partition in between them.
Yes.
She has a pot of boiling water on the stove. The one partner, if you notice, the one that's actually the body cam is recording from.
Right. He didn't want any part of this.
He moves back, or instantly he moves back. Right. The other guy stays there. Now, to me, that's a problem now, because you got to give, the one thing they teach us is give yourself space. Give yourself room so that your distance is everything. Distance is your friend, right? And when she says, "I'll rebuke you in the name of Jesus," or whatever it is that she says, his first words out of his mouth is, "I will shoot you in the effing face."
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Instead of starting to take steps back and saying, "Ma'am, do me a favor, listen, this doesn't have to go," just try to talk to her, right? What's wrong? Why are you doing that? Don't pick up the pot. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to hurt you. Try to talk to her, because she's EDP.
You're correct. You're making a lot of sense, Angel. Please continue.
And I'll go even further. In New York, EDPs, mostly when the police respond to an EDP job, they also send the ambulance. They also send EMS. I don't know how it works in Illinois.
Right, but this is Springfield, and it was the sheriff's office, so I'm sure it's
different.
Right, it's different.
It's different, right. But I just figured it bothers me a lot, because I hear the callers and I hear that they're saying a lot of stuff, and I will say 99% of the callers have never been in those situations. I have. I've been in situations where I've had knives, people with knives, EDP threaten me and stuff like that.
So what did you do? What did you do?
I'm sorry, Dominic. Before I get into that, another thing is I think 99% of every department in the state and in the country carry tasers also. Why didn't he pull out a taser and taser?
I guess because he may have felt that she could have thrown the water. I can't speak for the officer. He's in jail right now. But I'm curious. But how did you deal with it when someone had a knife?
So me in my circumstance, I had it was a domestic violence call, and when I responded, I approached it was like a basement apartment. It was an apartment within an apartment. If you could understand that in New York City, they rent out rooms. And so I was able to get access into it. I hear the guy screaming at his girlfriend or wife, and he has a knife. And when I called out to him, I said, "Hey, drop the knife." He turns to me and he starts coming at me. He took about 3 steps to me. I was pretty far away. I was probably about 25 feet away from him at the moment. I told him twice, "Put it down," and then I said, "I'm going to shoot you." And then he ended up throwing it on the ground and giving himself up.
So Angel, honestly, were you going to shoot him at that point?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. You were not playing.
No, I wasn't playing. My finger was on the trigger, and this is gonna go to my next point, Dominic, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
The officer, after that shooting, was like nothing. He spoke as if, "Hey, no big deal." She was crazy. He even called her the B word. And say,
right.
"Hey, that B word was crazy."
That part bothered me. Part bothered me. You wouldn't treat a dog like that.
No.
After you just shot her in the face.
Correct. My point is that when I was that close to shooting that one person that was coming at me with a knife, okay, I was pretty, after that, when the adrenaline slowed down and everything came back to normal and I was on the side talking to friends or whatever, I had to call my wife and say, "Hey, I almost killed somebody. I almost took somebody's life. Like, this is, like it really, did something to me where it wasn't something that was, oh yeah, I almost shot somebody and no big deal. You're taking somebody's life. He just took this lady's life that had no deadly weapon. Yes, she had a hot pot of water, but guess what? She could only throw it so far, Dominic. He could have easily gone behind the wall. He could have easily stepped back. He could have easily tased her. I'm pretty sure he had a taser. You know, he definitely had mace. He could have maced her. I mean, you have so many utilities on your belt. It's not just a gun. And that's what a lot of officers don't understand. Right away, they want to go for the gun. And that's not the way life is. I mean, you know, you're given a big responsibility. You know, you have to be liable for that stuff. Now, unfortunately, now, yes, there are circumstances where you have a split second to think about it. To me, watching that video, that wasn't it.
So, Angel, when did that officer, now, obviously, you're not in that situation, but you have a law enforcement background. Yes. The shooting officer, when did he realize what he had done?
When he realized that he shot her?
Yes. When did he, like, because you can tell immediately afterwards, they're like, uh-oh. They don't use the word uh-oh. They use profanity.
Right. Well, the partner is, I believe, the one that says it first. You know, like he's like, oh,
right.
Like, you know, he knew his intention. By him saying to her, I'm going to shoot you in your effing face, he already had that intention, you know, right off. So he had no problems putting that trigger if she did something crazy. I try to slow down that video, and Dominic, I swear to you, I think it looks to me like she actually puts the pot down and she had the mittens, the red mittens that she puts up in the air.
You know? That's what I saw too, Angel, but I left that out because I'm trying to make sure that I get all the facts correct because this is highly inflammatory. And with the vice president calling her family, which means that Trump any day now, any hour now is going to be asked about it, and it's going to be game on in the presidential race with this case in the middle of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is going to drive me to my next point that I don't get
just quickly. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Real quickly. The man was arrested, no bail, no nothing, and he's fired. They handled the situation already. Why is all the protesting going on? They act as if every single cop is killing people all the time.
Right, and that's not happening. Angel, I got to wrap it up. Thank you, my friend. We're going to take a break. The Other Side of Midnight coming right back.
The Other Side of Midnight. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
We are back. Dominic Carter here with you. The Other Side of Midnight in for Frank Morano, who's off this week on vacation. Hour number 2 is coming up, and I have a serious question that I want to put to you folks because I don't understand this. I have asked women, I've asked female correction officers. Every now and then, you hear these stories about female correction officers that put everything on the line to date inmates, to have sex in jail with inmates. Why would you risk your freedom and everything that comes with it, your job, to engage in something like that? So I'm curious in what you folks from around the country may have to say for why this type of thing happens. And we'll deal with Trump, who sat down with Laura Ingraham, talking about the shooting, the assassination, talking about debates. There's a lot to get to. Quickly, Steve, you've got 30 seconds here, Newark, New Jersey. Go right ahead.
Hey, Dominic, I just want to let you know, I've been on the job a long time in the black community, and I can tell you, do not. The best thing for you to do is stay out of that case, because that individual, and I listened to your last caller, man, that man don't deserve to wear a uniform. And that's just my opinion. I'm telling you, they call me Malik in the street, and I'm white. And I'm going to tell you something right now.
You got 5 seconds.
I've recovered more guns in the street than any cop in this department.
I hear you, Malik. Steve, we're coming back. Hour number 2, the other side of midnight.
This is The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Now, here's Frank Morano.
Good morning. This is my theme song. Dominic Carter here with you folks. And for Frank Morano, you are listening to The Other Side of Midnight. The number to reach me is 646-720-0635. We are changing topics now, switching gears. You can also reach me on social media, on Twitter, on X, what do you call it? Twitter, X, whatever the case may be. At Dominic TV. At Dominic TV. That's where you can reach me, but understand that I may actually use your comments live on the air here for the next hour. I want you folks to help me with something. If you're in the queue already, as it relates to one of the calls standing by, and I just happen to look up at the monitor, and there's a picture of Laken Riley. Let's not forget that young lady, what happened to her at the hands of, allegedly, of that migrant, the student in Georgia. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. And so if you're already in the queue, we'll get to your call in just 1 second. But I really need your help this morning. I have been trying to figure this out for the longest. Let's say you're a correction officer, and I'm going to get to Trump and the debate over debates in just a moment. But let's say you're a correction officer, and let's say you work in Chicago. And let's say with overtime, you make $100,000 a year, and let's just say it's a good income for your family. And you get the great benefits, and yes, you're risking your life, and you're locked up all day with inmates, but you're doing what you have to do to provide for your family. For the life of me, and this is a story that goes back 20, 25 years that I've never been able to understand. And I want your help to help me comprehend. I'm just going to be direct and put it out there. Why do some female correction officers have relationships with inmates? Let me be more direct. Why do female correction officers, obviously I'm only referring to a handful, but why do they risk everything to have sex with inmates? If you have an answer for that, please give me a call, because for the life of me, I have never, ever been able to figure that one out. 646-720-0635. So with that in mind, a female prison guard is admitting to having sex with an inmate in a recorded cell phone episode, and she's facing long years in terms of jail. A British, and now this happens a lot in America, but the British female prison officer, she was arrested after allegedly being filmed having sex with an inmate inside his prison cell. And she pleaded guilty to misconduct Monday. She's 30 years old. Her name, Linda de Sousa Abri, and she was working at London's Wadsworth prison when she was caught having sex with a prisoner on June 27th, which was recorded by another inmate and went viral on social media, the BBC reported. Prosecutors say she runs an OnlyFans account, knowingly took part in the raunchy video with an inmate, and what's going to happen to her is unclear at this point. And so the video, again, was shared by inmates at the Wandsworth jail before spreading across social media. And the prosecutor says she was clearly an enthusiastic participant who wrongly thought she would avoid responsibility, adding this was a shocking breach of the public's trust. So the woman appeared at her hearing, dressed professionally, and pleaded guilty to one count of misconduct in public office, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. So obviously she won't get life in prison, but she's pleaded guilty. Why? And oh, by the way, she's a married mother, and it looks like it's her husband that came to court with her. And so she was granted conditional bail, and she's scheduled to appear back in court November 7th. And her lawyers did not immediately issue a statement. And so the married mom was arrested earlier this month following a police investigation that identified her as the guard having sex in the men's prison when I just mentioned when it happened. So I really want someone to explain this phenomenon to me, because it's happened in some big American cities. And it may seem like I'm, unfairly targeting female officers, but that's what comes to mind right now. Why in the world? We're going to get to Trump and the debates and the debate over the debate, but why would an officer, in particular a female officer, correction officer, risk everything to have sex with an inmate and then permit another inmate to record it, knowing that you're going to be the talk of the town before you can finish your shift? Let's go to Mark. Mark is in Aurora, Illinois. Mark, what's on your mind?
Well, I used to be in a prison ministry called Kairos. It's a Christian ministry, and we saw things from both sides. One side said, just love, 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 listen, listen, listen. The warden said to us, the way you can tell that a prisoner is lying is that his lips are moving.
Right.
So we, but I have a couple of guesses. One is on the inmate side, and the other is on the guard's side.
Well,
on
obviously, for the inmate side, they want benefits, they want privileges. They're women, they're locked up with a bunch of men. I mean, that's easy. I'm trying to figure it out from
But I was going to say that a lot of them were pretty good con artists before they wound up in prison, and they may use their manipulative tactics.
But Mark, if they were good con artists, they wouldn't be in jail. But yes, I would call it a different thing. They have the gift of gab, and they're able to run game on some of these female officers. But why would they give in to that? So on the officer side, Mark, before I go to Wanda in the Bronx, New York, go ahead. On the officer side, why would an officer put her job and family and children on the line to have sex? Here in New York, we had that big case upstate where the guys broke out and one was having sex with her and she went to jail. But go ahead, Mark.
It depends on where her buttons can be pushed, and it depends on how bored and despairing she is with the prison system. Every woman is different, but some women have buttons that prisoners know how to push.
You are correct.
Some women, frankly, like bad boys. Now I've never understood women who like bad boys, but there are women who do.
No, you're 1,000% correct. The only thing that I find interesting is that they love bad boys and think that they're going to change the bad boy, and then when the bad boy behavior comes to them, they don't understand why it's happening.
Yeah, if I have sex with this guy, he'll soften up.
Right, and he's a bad boy. He's never going to soften up. He's used to having plenty of women. Mark, you made some good points there. Okay, you made me understand a little bit. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Wanda, line 3, and we are taking your calls. We're about to get to Trump and the debate over the debate. We're taking your telephone calls, and folks, you can give us a call at 646-720-0635. Good morning, Wanda. What's on your mind?
Yes, Dominique. I had a cousin out in California. She was a correction officer at a facility, and she married a guy in the prison, and she lost her job. And then she came home to Maryland to introduce us to him. And the first thing he went around asking, where can he buy some drugs? And we say, what did she marry that boy for? And then he had a little girl. He left a little girl with her, and he left her. He eventually left her.
Of course. Because once he got out of jail, he didn't have any need for her anymore. So Wanda, help me. You're a woman.
I've heard this. Say, where are all the black men? They say they in jail. So no black men out here for women to date. And maybe she couldn't find one out here.
Okay, but explain this to me. That this is the part that I'm trying to understand, and we could take race out of it, right? Because it happens to black female correction officers, white female correction officers. The race is not important. But explain this part to me. Why? I think for the most part, and perhaps this is a stereotype, but women are more responsible than men, right? Why would a woman risk her job, her career, taking care of her kids, her health care for her children, just to have sex with some loser inmate that's running game to her?
You had a good job, making good money.
So why do you think they do it? That's what I'm trying to understand.
I wish I knew, because we didn't understand it either. We didn't understand why she would do that. I swear to God, we didn't understand. Never did. All I got to say, they're weak and they're desperate.
Right. Well, Wanda, thank you. Thank you for enlightening me a little bit. Let's go to Jimmy in Minnesota. Jimmy, how are you listening to us right now?
Oh, on the radio, just before I'm ready to hit the sack.
Okay, fair enough. So, do you have an answer for me on this? Hey, Jimmy, and the only reason why I'm doing this topic is this has been something that's been on my mind going back almost 30 years. I just don't get it, why a woman would risk everything to have sex with a con.
Well, we had lots of training on this, and the previous caller was talking about they're good con artists. They do have all day long to think of the perfect thing to say to that lady. And maybe that woman is not having a great relationship with her husband at home, or if any husband or spouse or partner. And the inmate, the first time he sees her, hey, I really like the way you wear your hair. And then if she does something just a little different, maybe 2 days later, he'll say, oh, that's really nice the way you look this today. So they have all day long to think of that perfect thing to say. And that's how they build their relationship. And that's how it starts. And then it's a little bit, and a little bit more. And then, hey, could you think, I don't know how they got this video on there. If that
she made the video letting another inmate record her.
I mean, we never had cell phones in our institution that we could carry in the cell house. There was people in the facility that had cell phones, but couldn't have them anywhere near an inmate. So that just baffles me there. But also, some women come to work in those places. They're looking for a guy from day one.
Wow!
And because they know that guy ain't going to be cheating on them.
Right? You can control him.
She knows where he is. He ain't out screwing around with some other lady that night.
So Jimmy, you were a correction officer?
Yes, sir. 25 years.
Wow. And so did you witness things like this? Did you hear rumors like this?
Yes. We had a number of staff that over the years that they fell into the trap.
But I'm just amazed, Jimmy. There is nothing that I'm just going to be honest. There is nothing a loser inmate could say to me that's going to say to me, "Oh, I should take off my clothes and have sex with you."
Yeah, it's a progressive sales pitch. And it baffles the rest of us that work with these people.
Hey Jimmy, I've got to take a break, so I got to end this in a second. But so you're saying that they catch these female officers while they're vulnerable, they run verbal game to them.
Yep.
And they wear them down.
Very much. It ain't a 1 week deal. This is probably for months. But they know the perfect thing to say, and then they work the relationship, and before you know it, this guy's paying attention to me. Gosh, I don't get that at home.
And before you know it, she's bringing him extra candy. He's got extra shower benefits.
Yeah, just bring me a couple cigarettes from home. Hey, would you drop this letter off for me? Or just little special things. And pretty soon she's in so deep she can't get out.
Wow. Well, Jimmy, thank you. Thank you for the call and for enlightening us here. This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano. We are coming right back.
The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
And we are back, The Other Side of Midnight. Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano. Frank's off all this week on vacation. Noam Laden is standing by to take over at the top of the hour. I'm looking at my Twitter, at my X, and the topic, right? So I'm being brutally honest with you people. I've been fascinated by this topic for the last 20 years. Seriously. And that is, why do female correction officers, not all, only a handful, risk everything to have a relationship, to have sex with an inmate? So the first conclusion, and we're looking at a case in Britain where the woman has a former correction officer has an OnlyFans page, whatever you call this thing, where you can make money. And she showed up to court with her husband, and she made a video with one inmate. Another inmate recorded it. And so the first conclusion that I reached is that these guys, the inmates, they think they've got the gift of gab. They think they can sell anything. And you know what? Maybe they can, because they get these women to go for it. And in New York, you had two inmates, all right? They tried to make it to the Canadian border, where she was married and having sex with one of the inmates, and they were running game. And she helped them escape. So I'm looking at, and they were caught. I'm looking at my, well, one was caught. The other was killed, I believe. Looking at my Twitter, Sharon says, it's my guess she was going to post a video on her OnlyFans page. It wasn't just about having sex with him. So you know what, Sharon? Maybe you are correct. Let's switch gears. Trump, right? So I want you to listen to this. He's changing his attack. He's going after Kamala Harris on the issue of her age, and he's also going after her on other issues. Here's a little bit of what her laughing. Here's a little bit of what he has to say.
Well, they're going to say you're afraid of debating her. That's what they're going to say.
Well, they said that with Biden, too. You know, I was afraid. I did great with Biden, and I did great in every debate. I've had a lot of debates.
But you're winning on all the issues,
But, you
right?
know, I'm leading in the polls by, I think, a lot. I don't know. I hear different numbers. But I'm leading in all of the polls. I'm leading big in all of the swing states. And I say this. The answer is now. Yes, she's trying to come back. She got rid of the laugh. I noticed I haven't seen that crazy laugh that she got. She's crazy. That laugh, that's the laugh of a crazy person. But I noticed that she's not using that laugh anymore. Somebody convinced her, don't laugh. Just don't laugh. Don't laugh under any circumstances, because
I like laughter, but sometimes.
Not her laughter.
And so the debate over the debate. And when you think about it, Vice President Harris has not been laughing lately. She also has not been really facing any questions. Okay, let's take the really out. She has not faced any questions. How long can she continue to do this? You can't do this for the next 98 days until Election Day. Eventually, you're going to have to answer some questions. And the question becomes, when is that going to come? Hopefully, it's going to be a lot sooner rather than later. And you are listening to The Other Side of Midnight, and I'm Dominic Carter, filling in for Frank Morano. So, the debate over the debates, right? I want you to listen to this. This is Trump with Laura Ingraham, Fox News, on the issue of debates.
Well, they're going to say you're afraid of debating her. That's what they're going to say.
Well, they said that with Biden, too. You know, I was afraid. I did great with Biden, and I did great in every debate. I've had a lot of debates.
But you're winning on all the issues,
But, you know, I'm leading in the polls by, I think, a lot. I don't know. I hear different numbers. But I'm leading in all of the polls. I'm leading big in all of the swing states. And I say this. The answer is yes, I'll probably end up debating. I think actually the debate should take place before the votes start being cast. You know, I had a very good second debate with Biden. I really beat him badly. The problem was 34% of the votes were already cast. If you're going to have a debate, you got to do it, I think, before the votes are cast. I think it's very important that you do that. So the answer is yes. But I can also make a case for not doing it. Also, I don't like rewarding fake news. I don't like rewarding the people that have been, they're going to make tens of millions of dollars with this debate. I don't like ABC. I think it's a terrible, terrible outfit. I don't like that ABC is going to get rich. George Slopadopoulos, as I call him. I don't like these are such bad people. I don't like that ABC is going to get rich. I don't like, and I will say something, that when CNN did the last one, they were very fair. Jake Tapper was very fair.
Well, maybe just you and her, Vice President Harris in a room together with no moderators.
I don't mind that. I don't mind anything. Look, I don't mind. We can do any form of a debate. You know, when they asked me to do the debate, they didn't think I was going to do it, because they offered me the two heads, the two announcers, whatever you'd call them, the referees, call them whatever you want. But I have to say they were both very fair. It was CNN. They wanted to sit down. I said, no, I don't want to sit down. You can't sit down. They want to sit down. They offered me everything that I couldn't accept, and I accepted it. I accepted everything. And we had a debate. It was a great debate. It was actually, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I shouldn't have debated so well because if I didn't, that was the end of him. Because from that day on, you could see that he was not going to be, in my opinion, I said, I don't think he's going to make it anymore. Now I have her. I would rather run against her than him. I think she's easier than he is.
I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about that, whether or not Biden is easier than she is, because she's going to play the gender card. She's going to throw down the race card. She's going to be the victim of the year. And in every scenario, Trump has to be careful in terms of how he deals with her. But this entire issue of debating over debates, what does Trump have to lose? Trump is a good debater. Now, he does make a valid point. Wait a minute. Let's make sure she's the Democratic nominee. What happens if there's another switcheroo, right? Democrats decide that she's not running as well as they want her to run, and the convention hasn't happened yet. And then all of a sudden they turn to someone else. What happens at that point? I'm taking your telephone call, 646-720-0635. The number to reach me this morning, Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano, 646-720-0635. And if you are just tuning in, this is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano. A lot to talk about as it relates to Trump. The debate is going to happen. I'm telling you, folks, I've been doing this a long time. Kamala Harris is not going to do as well in a debate up against Trump as she thinks that she's going to do. But it'll be interesting TV. He'll have to be measured. She'll be throwing haymakers at him. You see how well he did against Biden. He saw that President Biden was drowning, and figuratively speaking, and he backed up, which is rule 101 of politics. Don't get in the way when your enemy is falling, when your rival, I should say, not your enemy, is falling apart. The number to reach me this morning, 646-720-0635. Let's go to Mike in South Carolina. Good morning, Mike. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dominic. My sleep cycle's a little off, no big deal. So I just woke up a little while ago. Interesting topic. Well, what you just said about Kamala Harris, yeah, she got rid of the giggles, as Curtis called her. And, she's playing the gender card. She's playing the race card, like you said. And she's playing the victim card and denial on being the czar of the border. Give me a break. Female prison guards. I had a lot of friends who retired from NYPD, Rikers, whatever. I think this is just a fantasy, a bizarre fantasy that some females have with, getting their rocks off in prison with prisoners. You can't quite, I agree with you. I can't wrap my mind around it, but it's got to be a twisted, fantasy land type of thing. And, they're jeopardizing, like you said, hey, you're jeopardizing your career, your pension, and everything else that
your
goes
freedom.
With it.
And Mike, what about, I'm giving this the cleaned up version as best as I can. What about the hygiene issue? You're having sex with
Here's an Italian word for it. Total disgraziad, disgrace. That's like skivats.
Wow, Mike, thank you for the call. Listening on KMOX in St. Louis. Let's go to John. Good morning, John. What's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic, good to have you, bud.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
No, it is. You're a hell of a fill-in. I mean,
I was in St. Louis less than a month ago. But anyway, go ahead, John.
Did you see a Cardinal game?
No, I did not. I drove. I don't remember the town. It was beautiful. And I know you're going to say a lot of places in Missouri are nice. I drove about 3 hours up to 2.5 hours. It was lakes, and I can't remember the name, but I was speaking there, and it was absolutely beautiful. But it's a good 2.5 hours from St. Louis.
Yeah, Lake of the Ozarks.
That's it. How did you know, John?
Well, it's our go-to, bud.
Oh, it is. So that's why the conference was held there. Hey, John, the place was so beautiful, right?
Oh,
it was so beautiful that my wife is on my back to buy her a house there. That's how beautiful it was.
Well, yeah, you get you in a little cove there, and yeah.
Oh my God! I've done a lot, John. I'm going to get to your point in 1 second. I've done a lot speaking, traveling the country. I've seen a lot, right? I've had the opportunity. I've been, life has been good to me. Following world leaders, I've been on Lear jets and so on, all types of places, all types of things around the world. But I have never. What's the name of it again? Lake of the Ozarks.
Lake of the Ozarks.
It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yes, it is.
And it was about what, about an hour outside of Jefferson City, if I remember correctly.
About an hour.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
2.5 hours from St. Louis. Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead with your point, please.
Well, I forget now.
It was on prison guards having no self-control.
Hey, listen. I think it all has to do with these women. It's no self-esteem.
I didn't want to say it, John, but it comes down to self-esteem.
I will.
John, but to have sex with an inmate?
It's no self-esteem. Come on, what else could it be? They have no self-esteem. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. Yeah, that's what it is.
Wow. To risk everything, your freedom, your kids. God only knows what type of disease you'll have from laying down with these guys.
Yeah, That's it. I'm going to say it. It's plain and simple. Dominic, you know that's what it is.
Right. I didn't want to say it, John. I didn't want to say it. But thank you so much, John, for listening on KMOX in St. Louis. Thank you. Thank you. So let's go from St. Louis and John to WFYY in Florida. Sophie. Good morning, Sophie. What's on your mind?
Good morning, sir. Hey, I love your guys' show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was listening, and I had a friend of mine that did corrections, that used to work in the corrections field, but it's a power play. She was like, yeah, you control all these guys. I'm like, you control? No.
But Sophie, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think you and I know why the men correction officers will risk everything to have sex with female inmates, because men are stupid, right? And in some cases, but the women, for control,
they're dumber than guys.
Really? So do you think it's low self-esteem?
Yes, sir. It's a power play and low self-esteem. I mean, why would you risk everything when you have everything for nothing?
But to have sex with some lowlife that's running game, that can talk good things. I mean, if he was so good at talking, he wouldn't be in jail.
Yeah, exactly. But it has to be self-esteem, because that's, I mean, why else would they do it?
Could it be that their husband just not giving them any attention at home?
It could be. But
Well, so
I don't know.
Well, Sophie,
I don't know. It's weird.
Right? It is weird. That's why I brought up the topic. Listening to us on WFYY from Florida, Sophie. Thank you so much.
I got you on 103.1.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, Sophie. And I'm sure the weather is gorgeous in Florida this morning. Thank you for the call. On the issue of Trump debating, let's go to Lenny in Pennsylvania. Good morning, Lenny. You are on the other side of midnight.
Good morning, Dominic. I don't think Trump has any problem debating her. I think, media's making a lot out of this, but Trump's a good debater.
Agreed.
Right? So Biden fell. Kamala has she has no record. So I think she's the one who's really worried about it. She'll try to set up the debate the best she can. But Biden did the same thing, tried to set it up. And they're going to hide her. They're going to try to hide her as much as they hid Biden in 2020. We all know he had dementia in 2020. And now he can't run. And she's an empty suit.
Well, it certainly, I can understand why you say that, and it's going to be interesting. And I think right now they're just trying to bait Trump, but he's a great debater, and I don't see this as being a problem for him at all. At all.
Me neither. I don't see it as a problem for him, and I see her trying to. I'm not sure. Like, she wasn't a good debater in the Democratic primary from 4 years ago. So why would she be good now? She has no record, nothing, no credentials.
Right. But she does have a record that can be hung around her neck, and that's exactly what Trump is going to do. Lenny, thank you for the call. So, folks, if you're from the New York area, you know I do a segment called The Left versus the Right once a week. And it's with former Congressman Anthony Weiner. And I've known him a long time. And he means well, and he's passionate about his views. But I want you to get an idea of what it's like talking to some of these progressives, or maybe Weiner would say he's not a progressive, but talking to someone on the left when you try and make sense to them. So this is from our segment that we did this weekend, Saturday in New York, 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can always find it online, folks. And he was yelling so loud at me, I thought he was going to have a stroke. Listen to this, folks.
How did Trump make his money?
Trump made his money by making wise decisions.
No, Trump was given money.
No, here we go. You don't think I know what here's what you want to say. Trump's daddy gave him his money.
Yeah.
Did Trump, whatever the case may be, I think Trump said it was a small loan from
$2 million.
Okay, now what is Trump worth now?
What's
he worth now? That's the question.
I'm going to do the math for you.
Go ahead.
If Trump invested in a CD, in a certificate of deposit, he'd have more money today.
No, he wouldn't.
Yes, he would. The guy's lost money left, right. He had failed casinos, failed apartment buildings.
We're talking about Kamala. Kamala.
No, you just asked me about Trump.
No, Kamala.
Here's the advice I would give you, Dominic, to pass along to the mothership. I know they played It's a Man's World at the convention when Donald Trump came out. I know you had Dana White and wrestlers and everything else.
Hulk Hogan.
You think Hulk Hogan.
Ripping off his shirt to have a Trump shirt underneath.
And I know that a vice president was chosen
Or Madeleine Brame, the African-American woman from New York that said Democrats have ruined the country on crime. Her Afghanistan serving son killed in Harlem.
I'm offering some advice. Let me finish. Dominic, let me finish.
Why don't you finish? Or what about the brother of the woman in Maryland? The mother of 5, where she was brutally raped by a migrant. Eventually,
now I'm going to have to restart.
Eventually, you Democrats are going to have to answer real questions, policy questions, and poof, there goes the illusion.
And let me get back to the point I was making. So I'm going to offer some advice.
Go ahead.
The president comes out to It's a Man's World. You have Dana White introducing him, the head of a wrestling organization. You have Hulk Hogan coming out. You have Kid Rock and everything else. You apparently think that a bunch of 20-year-old white guys are making this decision.
Really?
Here, just let me.
Can I pop
let me make my point.
Argument?
Can I make a point, please?
The argument is faulty.
Dominic, I haven't made it yet.
Left out
Dominic, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be talked over now. I'm going to keep making my point. This is the worst radio ever. I don't care about Jack Rapper in South Brooklyn. I am going to make my point, Dominic. I am going to make my point. Talking over me will not work while I make this point. I am going to make my point. I am going to make my point. I am going to make my point. Be quiet while I make my point.
Amber Rose.
Be quiet while I make my point. Be quiet while I make my point.
Go ahead. So, what I was trying to say was that the former congressman was stating that Trump at the RNC had nothing but young white guys. And my point was, what about model rapper Amber Rose, a woman of color from South Philadelphia? But Mr. Weiner, like many on the left, did not want to hear that. It did not go with the narrative that he was trying to make. This is Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano, the other side of midnight. I'm with you up until the top of the hour. That's when my colleague Noam Laden will come in. He will be taking over, but we'll continue with your calls. The number to reach me from throughout the country, 646-720-0635.
The Other Side of Midnight. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
We are back. Dominic Carter in for Frank Morano right now. Noam Laden has been here working for a few hours getting ready. I'm about to pass the mantle to him at the top of the hour. But up until that time, it's you and I on the phones together. Let's go to Miles on line 1. Miles, what's on your mind?
Dominic, I have such an idea. Can you imagine in the show Left Against Right, if there would be two sets of lie detectors, and the guys who operate in it, they would not see who they controlling, and they would have switched for microphone, and you would be switching one Anthony, one question you, one Anthony. At the moment when these guys...
Wait, Miles, I'm not understanding your point. You said have two guys... Say that again?
With a lie detector.
Two guys with a lie detector.
And they would have switched for your mic. At the moment when you ask question, Anthony Weiner, when the guy who operates it sees that's actually Anthony Weiner, it's not truthful, that he don't really believe in what he is giving you, they shut off his microphone and you continue the next question.
Ah, okay, all right.
Completely avoid, because he's so disrespectful to you. He's so many times out screaming, you just... it's boiling my blood when I'm listening to a show sometimes. So I was thinking this would be absolutely fair if you really, because so many times he says, can you be at least once say the truth? You cannot really believe. And he tells you straight in the face the lie again that he believes that. And so this would absolutely avoid all of that.
Okay.
You would be most of the show. You would be talking just you.
Well, thank you, Miles. So maybe we ought to try that. The mic gets turned off, sort of like the presidential debate. Let's go to Brian on line 3. Good morning, Brian. You are on the other side of midnight.
Hey, Dominic. Good morning. I pray the powers to be are listening. Please give Dominic a good offer and get him on this from midnight to whatever, till 5 a.m. Anyways, Kamala Harris, all you got to do is watch any interview with her. She's not much better than Biden with her responses.
No, I hear you. She may have more personality and she may have more energy, but
she does, absolutely. I mean, and as far as the debate with, they should have stopped that and said, "Oh, Biden got really sick," and that was so embarrassing to do that to the president. And again, I'm voting for Trump. I voted for Trump all along, but you just don't do that to the president. You just don't let him sit there, and talk about cramp, whatever he was. I had no idea what he was talking about. Nobody else did.
I got you. Unless the president's being set up, and more. Hey, you know what, Brian? Thank you for the call. I really appreciate it. And Brian mentioned another show for me, folks. The technology in the world we live in. I do another show. It's from Monday to Friday, 3 p.m. To 4 p.m., based out of a New York Eastern Standard Time, the Dominic Carter Show. If you're not in New York, just look online and you can listen 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I am dayside. You can find me. I would love for you folks to join and call the show, and let's mix it up together. So I will be back, for example, in another 12 hours to do exactly that show, 12 hours and 6 minutes from now. Joe on line 6. Good morning, Joe. You are on the other side of midnight.
Hey, Dominic, what does ABC stand for? Always broadcasting water?
I hear you, Joe. I hear you. Go ahead. What's on your mind this morning?
Well, anyway, you better be careful. Curtis might put a hit on you. Anyway, with Trump, she thinks that he has an obligation to debate her. As of right now, she is not the nominee.
Right. She's not. She thinks that she is, but she's not.
Right. And so that the President Trump has no obligation to debate her as of now.
Agreed.
Am I correct or am I wrong?
No, you're correct. Agreed. No obligation, and that's why Team Trump is hesitant, but they're trying to embarrass him. They're trying to goad him into a debate. This man has already served as president of the United States. You're not going to goad him into anything at all.
Well, you know how this is going to go. I think we've already had a discussion. You know how this is going to go. How they're going to, frame the former president, right? Misogynist, racist,
yes,
a convict. And
yes.
as for your show with the former congressman, I don't listen because he keeps calling the former president a convict. Correct?
All right, but let's leave that alone, Joe. There's no need to go there. I got it where you're going, and I thank you. I thank you so much for the call. Thank you, Joe. Let's go to Russ, White Plains, line 1. Good morning, Russ.
Hey, Dominic. I haven't heard Trump ask for any early day for the debate, and I think that's because Trump can't debate women. He hasn't debated a woman since Hillary, who really wasn't a woman. She was more or less a machine.
Oh, come on now, Russ. Come on. That's not cool. Come on, man.
Yeah, she was.
Wait a minute. Whether we like Mrs. Clinton, whether we hate her, I've known that woman for many, many years. I've been in many social gatherings with her. Russ, she is a mother. I mean, my God, come on, man. She's not a woman. Of course she's a mother.
Well, there are a lot of mothers in prison. I don't understand what being a mother.
You just said she's not a woman.
She is like Lady Macbeth. She was unsexed by her drive for power. She's a bloodthirsty murderer.
How would you know? How would you know?
Listen, I watched her. She started wars in Syria, Ukraine, Libya. She is a murderer. But my point is, Trump, with his bully boy tactics, he can pull that with men, but it ain't going to work with Kamala. She's going to make mincemeat out of Trump. And I was a double hater. I didn't like either one of them. I didn't vote in the first one with Hillary. I did vote for Trump in 2020 when he lost, but I've been looking for an escape route. The whole country is. She's going to take charge, and she has shown that when the head of lettuce got out of the way, she consolidated things. She's the vice president. And I hear callers say she's got no record and she's in hiding and she's an empty suit. Some clown. She was the attorney general, a senator, a veep, and an idiot on the radio saying that she's an empty suit.
All right, Russ. Well, thank you for the call. Folks, I just don't like it when our politics, when we hate each other so much. Russ just said that Hillary Clinton is not a woman. I mean, listen, you can hate her, you can say Benghazi, you can say whatever you want to say. But she is a woman. I mean, come on. And I can only tell you the times that I've interacted with her. I've interacted with her at the White House right before she became a senator. I've interacted with her in Los Angeles, at the DNC. where I interviewed her several times. I interacted with her when I moderated the debate when she was floating with running for president. And just on a personal level, she always carried herself okay with me, but she's not a woman. I mean, come on, folks. Come on, Russ. I mean, she has a child that's a grown woman, and she's now a grandmother. We may not like her politics, but the last time I checked, Hillary Clinton is a woman. Give it a break. Coming up right after this break, Noam Laden will take you for the final 2 hours of The Other Side of Midnight.
This is The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Now, here's Frank Morano.
It is The Other Side of Midnight. My good friend Frank Morano has the week off, so it's me, Noam Laden, filling in. I am the news director at the home station here, WABC, and happy to be filling in for Frank. So I'm out to dinner with the family last night, my oldest one's birthday, and we went out to this restaurant, and first of all, the table's full with people that some I don't know. I guess I did this to my parents as well, so it's a celebration, and there's his girlfriend's there, and then the younger kids are there, and then I didn't even know anybody was at the table. But okay, it was fine. So we're at what I think is a pretty nice restaurant, and sitting down to eat, and everybody's excited to celebrate the birthday, have a nice meal. By the way, this is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon because of now my newfound schedule of being on at 3 in the morning. Everybody has to go by my schedule, which of course nobody's happy about, but whatever. Either way, we're out for dinner. It's 4 in the afternoon. And we're at this nice restaurant, and I hate this. They come to the table, and it's ever since the pandemic, some of these places have hold on to this idea of a QR code menu. This drives me bananas. I am sitting in your relatively nice establishment. I'm about to fork over a fair amount of bills to pay for this dinner, and there's a fair amount of people at the table who are eating all kinds of food, and you can't give me a menu? So now I got to take my phone, and I don't want to sound like a fossil. I know how to do it. I'm not an idiot. I know how to do a QR code. I open camera. I sit there. I try to align it with the QR code. It takes a couple seconds till it catches on. Then I bring up the menu. But a couple things bother me about it. One is now everybody at the table's on their phone. So that bothers me because we're out to dinner to have a conversation with each other, but now everybody's staring at their phone. And the minute you have that phone out, you're now looking up other stuff as well. But now you can't even really see the menu, and it's not a matter of an eyesight thing. I don't have that whole thing. I can see just fine. But I like the idea. You got a big menu in front of you. It's plastic covered paper, whatever it is, and I can really look at this. With the phone, I'm kind of scrolling through, trying to figure out what's on the menu, how much things are. It bothers the heck out of me. And if you can't come up with a menu when I'm sitting down at your nice restaurant, really, what does a menu cost? Once in a while, you got to change the price. I mean, I get part of the reason they do the QR code now was, well, obviously it was because of the pandemic, which really now makes, I think about it, actually makes no sense. Like, why couldn't you hand somebody a paper menu during the pandemic? I couldn't get COVID from a paper menu, could I?
A disposable menu. They could have just thrown it away. But I think that's what it was, these plastic menus.
Right.
They were afraid people would
get
COVID on the menu.
Was that what the original thought? I mean,
yeah.
We didn't know anything in the beginning, in fairness, right? We didn't know what it was. So
that's true.
I understand that. But pretty quickly, we realized that you could not get COVID from the cover of a menu. I think we had that early on. But, of course, the great advantage to these restaurants, and I'm not begrudging them that they should make $1, is that, of course, they can change the price whenever they want on the QR code menu because it's online. So it's easy to hike the prices up. But I can tell you this place I ate at from the last time I ate there, they had definitely hiked up the prices. Because when that bill came, I was like, oh, my God. So now I'm already upset. We're only 5 minutes into the meal. And I'm like, really? You can't give me a menu? So
did you ask for a menu?
You know, I did not. I just assumed there wasn't one. Well, there probably wasn't one.
No,
if it was a QR.
There probably was one. Because there are people that don't have smartphones.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of older people, older than you,
right,
that don't have smartphones.
No, everybody's got a smart. Doesn't matter how old you are.
Not everybody, or they can't even operate the phone and what to do with the QR code. They have no idea.
So you think they would have
asked for a menu?
I didn't even think to do that.
You would have said, "Hey, can I get an actual menu?" They have to. They have one.
Did not even occur to me to ask for one. I just assume. Because all these places with the QR code menu, I almost want to boycott the places with the QR code menu because I just find it annoying. And again, a relatively nice establishment. So I'm sitting there scrolling through trying to figure out what I want. Whatever. All right. I figured it out. It was a nice meal, whatever. But now, of course, everybody's on the phone, so that bothers me. So then I start making a list because I'm now on my phone and everybody else at the table is on their phone because now they're looking at the menu. Now they've moved on to TikTok or whatever the hell else they're looking at.
How many people are at this table now?
Let me think. 8 or 9, maybe.
So now everybody is silent.
Of course.
And they're all looking down at their phones.
You know, it was funny. We sat down, all of us at the table, and we were having nice conversation, celebrating this birthday. And then people realized, you know, because they have a little card on the table, right? And I said, we were like waiting for the menus for like a minute or two. And then one of my kids was like, oh, no, this is a QR code one. I was like, oh, great. OK, so now everybody pulls out the phone and the conversation is gone. And the conversation is gone because not only you're looking in your menu, but of course, the minute you pick up your phone, it's the most addictive thing on the planet. You're looking at everything else that's online. And for stupid stuff that means nothing, and now we're lost in that conversation. So now I'm lost in it too. By the way, there's no conversation going on.
So what are you looking at? You're on your phone.
I don't remember.
Too.
I think I went to TikTok or something because I'm waiting for everybody else. That's the other thing is I know right away. By the way, I can tell you what I want at the restaurant within a minute and a half. I scroll the menu. Okay, there we go. That's what I'm having this. But if not, my wife takes 3 hours. You would think she's studying for an exam. So I know that's going to take a while.
I'm not going to ask you the name of the restaurant, but what kind of cuisine was that?
It was a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, I kind of pretty much know what I want.
Yeah, it's either
pretty quick.
A burrito,
fajitas, tacos. I'm probably getting the chicken steak fajita combo.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny. I think I got a chicken steak fajita, I think is what I got. And it was pretty good. So I'm now away on my phone because I'm waiting for everybody else to make their decision because I've made my decision in 90 seconds. And I'm just upset the idea of this whole QR menu. So I start making a list. I start making a list of things that bother me. This is when I realized that I am become an old man. I never thought of myself as an old man, but when I started making this list and I found out of things I didn't like, I realized, oh my God, what is wrong with you, Noam? So, okay, top of my list, at least last night, was the QR menus. Damn it, just give me a paper menu that I can look at. Even though I guess if I had asked for one, as you say, Matt, maybe I would have gotten one, but I'm not so sure, by the way. The second thing I came up, but it was quickly that I came up with like 10 on my list. Maybe you have some as well. And actually, I would open up the phone lines because if you're feeling sort of in that mode of like things that bother you, you can tell me what bothers you as well. 646-720-0635. That's the number you can reach out to me. That's 646-720-0635. Okay. The second thing I put on my list right away was liquid shower soap. That was an easy one. Liquid shower soap. I don't really understand how to use it. I go in, I have old bar. This is also when you can tell I'm an old man. I have a bar of soap in my shower because my wife and I don't even know what my wife uses, but I like the bar of soap. So, because I like the idea. You can rub it all over your body. It lathers up.
Right.
You rinse off. You're done. But there's been times where like someone's in my shower, the kids take over, whatever. Now I'm in their shower. They're all liquid soap. That's all they talk about is they have the Dial, all the different brands. I can't think of them. There's hundreds of them. And I can't really figure out exactly how to use it. You pour a little bit into your hand. then you rub it on your arms, but it doesn't lather up like soap does. In the end, I never feel like I'm completely, totally clean after using liquid soap. And by the way, I feel like I've used half the bottle to get it done.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, I was like you at one point where I held on to the bar of soap until one day I was out of the bar of soap and I had the liquid soap.
No, wait. So you've graduated from bar soap to liquid soap.
I have graduated. No. Forget, it's not liquid soap. It's body wash.
Oh, yeah, excuse me. Body wash.
Body wash.
Body wash, okay.
And you got to take a big pile of body wash.
So you do have to use a lot.
You do have to use a lot. And the first thing I do is rub it on my chest.
Right.
And that lathers it up.
I do that and I don't get the lather.
And then you rub it on your own. Well, you're not putting enough. Well, you do have to use a lot. I will say that.
It is the biggest scam on the planet because that bar of soap, by the way, lasts for a good deal of time. And the thing is, even when it gets to be really tiny, like sometimes I get into the shower because I have my ridiculous morning hours. I'll get into the shower at 3 a.m. and there'll be just a little bit of a tiny chip of soap left, but you can get that thing lathered up to do your whole body. That does not work with liquid soap. If there's just a tiny bit of liquid soap left, you're screwed.
Yeah, because with liquid soap, you have that big bottle. Now you have to leave the bottle upside down in the shower.
Right.
So for the next time you use it, you can squeeze out just whatever's left in that little bottle. It's like when you have the last remnants of ketchup in a ketchup bottle and you can keep it upside down in the refrigerator or in your cupboard or wherever you keep the ketchup.
But you don't get the satisfaction of enough ketchup on the burger for the fries because you don't have enough in there.
And it's the same thing with the liquid soap where you'll get a little bit and you're like, oh, well, now I don't have enough to lather.
Right.
I need to go get another bottle that may or may not be in my shower. Now I'm screwed.
Right. And that's why it's number 2 on my list of the list I made last night when I was sitting at the table waiting for people to order. I hate QR menus and I hate liquid shower soap. 646-720-0635. I always like to hear that people either agree with me or think I'm out of my mind, which I am. Let's start with Original Rick, who is in New Jersey. Original Rick, you are on the other side of midnight on a Frank-free Tuesday. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, Noam Laden. Quickly about the QR codes. Matt might be right about the menu. That could be part of it. But I remember walking into a place and they had the QR code on the window. And it was one of those places where you look up at the board, like at McDonald's, and you see what you want and you order. There was no menu. And yet they still had the QR code. And the reason was they had no prices on their food.
Yeah.
Because the prices during the pandemic were changing so quickly because of the supply chain thing that they couldn't keep up with it. So they would just change the digital menu every day. So you could see what they had by looking up, but you couldn't tell how much anything cost.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't know if it has to do quite so much with touching the menu, because this had no menu, but they still did it.
Right. So it's just about changing the price, hiking the price. And of course, as we've seen.
And if they were, they would have to, not about hiking it, it's just they would have to change it every day on that board. They would have been up there 24/7 changing the numbers.
Original Rick, let me ask you this, because I agree with you there. Are you a bar soap guy or are you the, what do you call the soap, Matt?
Body wash.
Yes, body wash. Or a body wash soap guy?
Well, I don't know what you would call this. I use my shampoo.
You're kidding?
I shampoo my whole body.
What?
Yeah, I put it on my head. I put it all over my body.
You're not supposed to do it. It says on the shampoo, it is meant for hair. You're supposed to rinse and then repeat, and then you're done.
Well, and I do that with my body. All over my body.
Which shampoo do you use?
I'm sorry?
Which shampoo do you use?
Head and Shoulders. So
you are old school. That is very old school. Oh my God! I didn't even know they
my
met
beard
Head
is nice
Shoulders.
And soft.
Wow.
You shampoo your beard as well.
Did they always market Head and Shoulders as like the dandruff-free shampoo?
Yeah.
Well, like a
shampoo. I have no dandruff anywhere on my body.
So now your whole body is dandruff-free.
And that's the one that's blue, right? Isn't it blue or something?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Original Rick. Original Rick in New Jersey. Let's see. What else is on my list of things that I hate? All right. QR menus. This was the list I made last night as I sat at the table waiting for everybody to look at their QR code and then load the menu and then decide what they wanted to order at this Mexican restaurant. The price of couches. I'm looking for a new couch for my house. How are couches so damn expensive? I went to look for one. We have one of these ones in our house at like how do you describe it? It's like half of it is in one side, and then the other half has like seating for like 4 people.
So that's like an L shape.
Thank you. An L-shaped couch. Nice leather L-shaped couch. It's done. It's time for a new couch. The wife's been complaining for an incredibly long time, like, all right, already, let's go buy a couch. So I started to go online. How is it that the prices started like $2,000 for a new couch?
Easy.
Yes.
And you have to measure your room. So because some couches are very big, some are small, they might not fit in the room, depending on how big your room is. I have also gone through this recently, looking for couches, and I know, and my room where the couch is not that big.
Right.
And it's still $2,000.
Yeah. By the way, it starts at $2,000. All right. I'm going to give you more of the list of things I hate. If you want to join in, you can. We have a lot to get to through 5 o'clock. So many things. But I started with the things that was annoying me most last night as I ate dinner. Give us a call, 646-720-0635. Noam Laden in for Frank Morano on the other side of midnight.
The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
Mask, gloves, soap, scrubs, tick.
You know what I think? One thing I don't hate is Matt's choice of music on the other side of midnight. You always do well.
You see, this song embodied everything you just talked about. Soap and TikTok.
Yeah.
In the same song.
Yeah.
In the first 5 seconds of the song.
Go figure.
See that?
You know, I can't help the news guy in me all night long. When I see big news stories coming out, I like to update you because that's what I do at my 5 o'clock show here in New York. And we're waiting as Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu has promised some sort of severe response to the attack by Hezbollah in the Golan Heights. This was the missile attack on a Druze village Saturday afternoon as kids were playing soccer on a soccer field. A missile hit that soccer field, killed 12, a ton of other people injured in that attack. And so far, there has been somewhat of a reaction, but not the severe one. That's the words from Bibi Netanyahu vowing a severe response to the Golan Heights attack. But as this hour, 3:24 here on the East Coast, we have not seen anything severe happen. Of course, the worry there is Hezbollah has the workings and the way to send missiles into places like Tel Aviv, unlike the Hamas does in Gaza. So the worry of a big war happening there is people are really worried about it. So what the Lebanese foreign minister has been saying over the last 12 or 15 hours is that he's been told it'll be a very targeted response by Israel. And maybe that's so it doesn't break out into a huge war, because that's the last thing that we need in the Middle East. So, okay, when we took the break, I was talking about the fact that I was out with my kids, and it seemed like 100 other people, hanger-oners, who were out for dinner, and they had these QR menus, which bothered me because I was slapping down a fair amount of cash for this meal. I was like, just give me a damn menu. And as I was waiting for everybody else to order, because everybody takes a long time, and I decide in like 10 seconds, I started making a list of other things that I hate. And what I love about this is I am not alone in being this old man who likes a list of things that I hate. So people are calling in with their list, which I always like to hear. 646-720-0635. Let's go to Liz, who is in Florida. Liz, you are on the other side of midnight.
I am. Hello, Noam. How are you?
I'm doing great, Liz. How about yourself?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank God. So let me just tell you, I once went with a friend of mine. We had no smartphones. There was a QR code, and I just looked at the waiter, and I'm like, well, we don't have any phones. So he did bring us the paper menus. They always have them. You have to ask for them.
Didn't even occur to me.
Told you.
Yeah, it doesn't occur. I just thought I was just upset that I didn't even think to ask for a piece of paper.
Always ask,
No.
Believe me. And regarding soap, I happen to love my bars. That's what I use.
Right.
But if you're using liquid, if you're going to get liquid, you need to get the large one with a pump, and it's much easier to use.
I still haven't got the whole lather thing down. You got the lather thing down once you do the pump with the liquid?
No, I don't like it.
Yeah,
no, I don't like it. I love my bars. I just use sometimes I'll use both, but I happen to love, because I do. It does lather so much better, and it feels better. You feel cleaner.
That's exactly what it is. I've done the liquid. I never feel clean. And by the way, Liz, I was out doing the shopping. This was, I don't know, a week or two ago, and the kids were asking me they were done with whatever the brand is they use for the liquid soap. It's like $10-15 for that bottle of body wash. And I look, and by the way, the bars of soap now at the drugstore are the bottom level. Everything's about site level, of course, and that's how they set up these stores. And because I guess nobody uses the bars anymore, they are on the bottom level. But at the bottom level, those bars of soap, you can get like 5 bars for like $3. But that body wash for one bottle, I think I paid $15 for it, which seems pretty obscene to me. But all right.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I like buying in like Whole Foods, like the organic bars, like the really, really good stuff. It lasts much longer. It may be a little bit more than $3, but it's well worth it.
What was it, like broccoli soap? I'm trying to think what they sell at Whole Foods.
No, they just have great scents and good oils, and you should go try it.
All right. Yeah, there's one in my neighborhood. I'll have to check it out. Thank you, Liz, for calling the other side of midnight. Let's see what else is on my list of things that I hate. I've had the price of couches because they're so damn expensive. Oh, waiting to get on a flight. I put that on my list. I don't know. That just bothers me because people don't know how to stand in line, and they don't really understand when it's their turn to get on the plane, and then it takes forever to get on the plane. But I think that I don't know that anybody doesn't have that on their list of things they hate.
I think anything that you have to get on a line is going to be a pain, especially at the airport, because people don't have common courtesy anymore. They just don't. Like when you sign up for a flight and you don't buy the extra seat, or you don't buy the getting on the plane right away.
First thing.
That actually costs money if you want to be first on the plane.
Yeah.
And people will just stand there and they block the other people that did pay to get on the plane right away. Now, I have done that where I have gotten that automatically because I know people don't like. I have taken Spirit Airlines. I have no problem with Spirit.
Wow,
right?
You like to be tortured.
Well, let me tell you what I've learned with my travels in Spirit Airline. You always buy the big seat. So Spirit's you can pick your own seat, or you can buy the bigger seat in the front, or you can just wait and then they'll just give you whatever seat you want. And they always say, like, if you're with other people, you might want to pay for the seat to make sure you're together.
Right.
But majority of the time, they'll put you together anyway. But I flew a few times by myself, and I paid for the extra big seat, which is the first row, the seat right next to the window, and then they automatically upgrade you to get on the plane first.
Huh. Wow, that's good to know.
So I don't have to deal with that, but I do have to deal with, like you just said, people in the way of me when they go, all right, if you're in aisles 1 through 10, please board. And then you got people that are in aisle like 25.
Right, and then they stop them. They're like, ma'am, you are in aisle 19. Okay.
Oh, yeah, you have to wait. Or they're just in the way. They got all their baggage, they got luggage, they got little kids, they got pets and dogs.
I don't get, by the way,
I don't get it.
I don't get people who want to be the first on the plane. I want to be the person that's getting on the plane as the door is closing. The last thing I want to do is spend any more time on that airplane.
Right, and that was one of the reasons why I want that particular seat.
Right, because you know it's going to be there and you get on whatever you want.
Well, I get on early, but I also get off first because it's the first row.
Right.
So as soon as, and then they don't, because you're in that first row, if you have a little carry-on bag, just like basically it's literally a little tiny duffel bag, because if you want an actual carry-on bag, you have to pay extra for that.
Right.
So you don't have where you can put it, you know how they always say, put it in front of the seat, underneath the seat in front of you.
Right, you don't have that.
Well, there is none.
Right.
So you have to put it in the overhead bin. But what I do is I grab my bag and I put it besides me as the plane is descending.
Wow, I can't believe you're breaking the rules.
You got to be a little sneaky, but it works for me. And then I'm off the plane in 3 seconds.
It's 30 minutes after the hour. This is the other side of midnight. I didn't know Matt doesn't play by the rules. 646-720-0635. George is in Salem, Illinois. And now, George, you are on the other side of midnight. Good morning, George.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing just great. How about yourself?
I'm all right. I got 3 things I'd like to say to you.
3? Well, let's see. Go ahead. Start.
All right. The first one was the soap thing. I agree with you.
Yes.
I like my bar soap. And, I agree with Liz, but every time I would use that liquid soap, it feels like you got a film on you.
Yes. Exactly. And then you spend more time in the shower trying to get it off. And even when you get out, sometimes I feel like I still have that on me and I don't feel clean on top of that.
It feels kind of oily.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
Second thing, sir, would be the Hezbollah attack. All I can say is horrendous, kind of like October 7th, but we'll see what happens. And the third thing, sir.
Wait. So, George, that's a very bold moment for you to put Hezbollah on your hate list.
I'm a Christian.
Okay, no, that's good. Look, Israel can take every friend they can get. And what's the third thing?
It'd be that flying thing y'all talking about.
Waiting online. Yeah.
I would not. Pilots, I got a pilot's license, and I wouldn't get on a commercial flight. I haven't been on a commercial flight since when I had to go to Virginia to Texas in 2000 for my brother's funeral.
Wait, so how do you get around then? Do you just don't fly anymore?
Actually, I'm kind of stuck where I'm at, taking care of my elderly parents.
Oh, okay. So if you go somewhere, you get behind the wheel.
Oh, yes, sir. I've got 3 or 4 different vehicles I can drive, so whatever I feel like it's...
So what do you know, George, that I should know that you're not flying commercial flights? Is it just you don't like them? Is there something I should know safety-wise as a pilot that I should be worried about?
I don't trust it. Look what's happening with Boeing and all this.
No, it's true.
There's a lot of stuff going on. You just don't know when you get on an airplane if there ain't a bomb on it.
Oh, well, that's happy to think about. All right, George, thank you. Thank you for going the other side of midnight. Let's see. All right, so I made this hate list as I was sitting in a too expensive Mexican restaurant celebrating my kid's birthday with, I don't know, way too many people. Some of them I didn't know at the table who I was paying for. I was waiting for them to order. They were taking forever. My hate list, of course, got longer the longer I waited because I was hungry. One of the things I put on my list was people who don't know which side of the sidewalk to walk on. Now, this may be more true here in Midtown Manhattan than where you live, but that just drives me crazy. It's like, get out of my way. The streets, the sidewalks are so damn crowded here. And, there's one side that's for going the way that's other one, the right side is for going up and the left side's for going down. But people don't always understand that.
Wait, is that for the whole street?
Yeah, no, for the sidewalk. If you are on the right side, you're going uptown.
I always thought you just always stay to the right no matter where you are.
No. If you're on the right side, that's going uptown on the sidewalk. And on the left side, that's for people who are going downtown. Or no, I'm sorry. Right is for going downtown. Left is for going uptown. But either way, people get confused and they get in my way.
I never even heard of that. I just thought you just always stay to the right. Like when you drive, you stay to the right. So if I'm on the sidewalk and I'm walking downtown,
right, you have to be.
I'm going to be on the right. Like if the buildings are on my right side, I'd be on closer to the building.
You should stay closer to the store and stay out of my way.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm on that same side,
if you're going uptown
and I'm walking uptown,
yeah, you should stay more to the left.
I would stay. Well, to the right of...
Yes.
To the left of you.
Right.
But it's still to the right.
Whatever it is, just get out of my way.
It's on the side of the street.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You just stay to the right.
I don't even have that far to walk to the garage where I get my car, but invariably somebody gets in my way. That's why that made it onto my list of things that I hate. Johnny is in Sullivan County, and Johnny, now you are on the other side of midnight on a Frank Free Tuesday. Good morning, Johnny.
Hi, guys. Hi, good show. Great show. You guys make a good tandem. And I always walk to the right also.
Yeah, see?
What bothers me is this aftermath since COVID, how these things still hang around, even though COVID is pretty much done for the most part.
I mean, you can't even get a hold of a politician anymore when you need when you have a problem with something. Everybody's still, a lot of them still work from home. Nobody returns your phone call. All of this nonsense. I mean, when I went back to school to get a paralegal certificate back in 2020. And once COVID came around, everything changed. Besides the fact they had to do things online, which scared the hell out of me, but I ended up doing okay with it. I graduated 3.73 average.
Oh,
but
nice.
It's like I spent my life in the library. I do a lot of time in library, research and things like that. I'm old school. In fact, I have a novel out there that's published. But anyway, all of a sudden, when the next semester came with all this COVID nonsense, how everybody had to be 6 feet away, you can't be near this computer, near this guy, and that guy. But the craziest thing that happened was they caution taped all the bookcases. You couldn't physically handle any kind of book, or even the dictionary. Oh, can't touch it. And I'm like, are you crazy? Do you really think I'm going to get COVID by touching this thing? It was just such an overreach that went on back then, to the point where we're still getting the residual effects of it. Where just everything is just so different since this thing happened.
Well, you know what it is. Also, nobody's gone back. Nobody wants to go back to work. That's kind of bothersome. Nobody wants to be in an office. They have to be forced to go back.
Which is gonna cause tremendous problems with the commercial real estate.
It already has.
The city. And another thing that's been really upsetting me to no end is how much. You guys talk about how much a couch costs. Look how much a goddamn car costs.
Yeah. Yeah.
More than what a house cost like 30 years ago. I mean, my car ride's great. She's not going to last forever, though. And when that day comes that I have to donate this vehicle, I'm going to really have to steal a car every 3 days like the old Canarsie crew that was by where Curtis Lewitt grew up.
Wait, Johnny.
Everything has gotten insane.
Johnny, you piqued my curiosity. You said you've written a novel, and I'm going to give you a little free advertisement. What is the novel that you've written?
My novel is about an elderly Sicilian American woman who grew up in the Belmont section of the Bronx by Arthur Avenue and all that. But she, the last 20 years, moved down to Gravesend, Brooklyn. She's emotionally unstable, but she's functional. Her nephew adores her. He adores his beloved Aunt Teresa. He goes to Hunter College for psychiatry, psychology major. She has a lot of scrapes with various things in that, conspiracy theories. She hates the government, this, that, the whole 9 yards. A lot of times the police come when she calls and say, ma'am, my hands are tied here. So eventually she got exasperated and took her hairstylist's advice, and she went to the Italian mob on Avenue U for help, and they helped her.
Nice.
It's a 32-chapter book. It's got everything in it.
How many pages is this book?
Oh, pages, I don't know, but it's got like 32 chapters.
32 chapters? I don't know. That sounds long.
Pretty long.
Yeah.
Chapter 1 is kind of like a little too long, but the printing company's like, enough is enough, John. You made enough changes.
Yes.
The book's going in print.
You needed an editor.
But the good thing is it's long, but it's good.
Can I listen to this on tape? Because I'm not, if I my drive in and out.
I know you could order it on Amazon. You can order it on Barnes.
What's the name of it?
It's called The Last Phone Booth on the Left in Brooklyn. Not phone book.
Last
Phone Booth on the Left in Brooklyn. My old type is Judy Cohen, the name.
Okay. All right. And that's the name of the book. Where can I get it? On Amazon?
And my pen name is Jay Quest.
Jake Quest.
J, the letter J.
Oh, J Quest.
Because I was going to call myself Johnny Quest, but I was contacted by Marvel Comics. They would sue me if I used Johnny Quest.
All right. So give that title one more time. We'll give it a little free advertisement. What's the name of it again?
Okay, well, if you Google it, you'll see Yukiko, my graphics girl, did a great job on the cover. It came out really well. It's called The Last Phone Booth on the Left in Brooklyn.
All right, Johnny, thank you very much. I'm going to go check that book out. I'm a voracious reader, so I'm going to write a review. I'm going to go onto Amazon, and I'm going to write a review, and I'll let the people know what I think. All right, so this list keeps growing of things that I hate. I had down here a 30-second ad before a 20-second video. That was because in that moment it had just happened. This also had just happened in moments before I sat down to write down this list as I was waiting for people to order inside this Mexican restaurant where it cost way too much money. People who reply all to an email that did not reply at all. Reply all, like those people who someone sends out and the boss sends out an instruction And you're just supposed to, take that instruction. But there's always somebody in the office who hits the reply all and will either say, got it, or they'll say, congratulations, or whatever. Why that annoys me? Why am I annoyed by that? I cannot tell you, but I put it on my list of things that annoy me. 646-720-0635. Tom is out on Long Island, and now, Tom, you are on the other side of midnight.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Good to have you.
You guys got me? Oh, okay, good. With your couch,
yeah.
Why don't you get it reupholstered?
Oh, that's not a bad idea. But wouldn't that end up being like the same amount of money when all said and done?
No.
Really?
No.
Are you a guy that does this kind of thing? Are you a reupholstering kind of guy?
Actually, my mother does it for like 60 years.
And she does everything, all different kinds of couches?
Yeah.
This is like one of those...
Slip covers.
Really?
Whatever, new pillows. Whatever, I mean, come on, guys. Think a little bit outside of the box.
Now, will she come to my house? You're on Long Island. I'm in Jersey City.
She's 84.
So
she's not coming.
I'll send her an Uber. How about if I send an Uber? All right.
You can just take off the pillows and mail them to us.
No, the whole thing is it's like there's part of the padding. Nothing's ripped because it's a nice leather couch, but it's just not that comfortable to sit on. But okay, so you must know, how much would it cost me to reupholster the couch? Like, what's an average price? So let's say the couch, a new one, starts at $2,000. What does it cost me to reupholster it?
To rebuild the whole couch?
Yeah,
probably $5,000.
Oh.
Because I'm trying to give you a real, besides trying to, buy a new couch. We reupholster here. We put on flip covers, and we live with it. We new pillows. You can make new pillows for it. You can pick out your colors.
Yeah, but clearly, Tom, you don't have a wife that's nagging you and has been for 6 months about a new couch.
No wife, no kids.
Oh, you're so lucky.
My friends tell me all the time.
Yeah, it's like winning the lottery, isn't it? All right, Tom, have a good night.
Oh yeah.
So he's telling you, don't get a new couch. Pay $5,000 to keep your old crappy couch, and we're just going to reupholster it, which it can't even be reupholstered because it's leather, right?
Yeah. Well,
so it's probably cracked.
It's not even cracked. It's just the cushioning isn't. I can't explain it. It's just not comfortable anymore.
Like the inside foam needs to be replaced.
Whatever's on the inside. I think we paid a lot for it when we bought it, actually, and so it lasted for a while. But now it's time.
Yeah, and you can't really redo that without opening up the whole couch. Yeah, you might as well just get a new one. But how much did you pay for that couch?
I don't know. It was a lot of money. I remember that because that's why we held on to it for so long. It cost a lot. We bought a nice one with the idea that the kids would jump all over it and ruin it, which they now have. And so now they're a little older, so hopefully they won't jump around and ruin the new one. And we're getting a new one. Oh, by the way, I want to continue on my list of things that I hate. Because this happened at the Mexican restaurant last night as well. Not only did they have the QR code menu, but I wanted to use their Wi-Fi because we were in a place where it just wasn't good. So I said, what is your Wi-Fi password, right? So they did not have it on the QR menu, the Wi-Fi password. And she said, well, come on over and I'll give you the Wi-Fi password. And I wrote it down. And I am not making this up. She brought me over to where the Wi-Fi, what do you call it? The Wi-Fi.
The router.
Thank you. She brought me over to the router and she says, this is our code. And let me tell you, this was the code I had to then put into my phone to then be able to use their Wi-Fi. JKLGKL234 lowercase o, lowercase u, 234. So, of course, the first time I did that, I didn't even come close to getting that correct because I was having a hard time seeing it because it was written on the back of the router, like tiny small letters. I said, how about changing this to the name of your Mexican restaurant? That might be one way. That would be easier to make it so everybody could get onto your Wi-Fi. Then I did it a second time, and thankfully I was able to get in. So why they don't change their password, that was annoying me. So I added that list of things I hate to people who have these Wi-Fi passwords that are the original ones they give you when you sign up for the service, and they don't change it to something easier. I don't know how they didn't come up with that.
I went through this the other day when I was at a restaurant, and I went onto the Wi-Fi, and it actually had guest Wi-Fi, but it had for a password.
Right.
And I'm like, well, if it's the guest Wi-Fi, why don't they have it printed on the menu?
Of course.
Or put it somewhere where I could just log on and not have to ask, because I don't want to ask somebody for the Wi-Fi password. And it says it's for the guest.
Yes.
So it's not even like some restaurants, I don't think they even offer Wi-Fi to their guests. It's just for their personal or for the business's use, which I understand. But if it says guest Wi-Fi and then there's a password, have the password printed out, because clearly you're giving it out to people.
Right. And by the way, like, what am I going to do if I get your Wi-Fi password? That's so crazy that you can't give me your personal Wi-Fi
You're going to
password.
start downloading illegal music and movies. No,
I guess while I'm sitting at a Mexican restaurant,
using the Mexican restaurant's password because you're angry and making this hate list. You can't QR, you have to QR code the menu. You don't have a paper menu.
Yes.
And then now you don't even have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and I'm all mad because of the liquid soap I had to use in the shower instead of the bar soap. 646-720-0635. Lisa is in Connecticut, and now, Lisa, you are on the other side of midnight. Good morning, Lisa.
Hi, great to hear you guys. Great show. A couple of things. So, yeah, I love the bar soap as opposed to the other thing because it's the film. And I always use a washcloth because I think that it always is so much better when you use a washcloth in the shower with the bar soap. Anyway, also the sidewalk thing. Oh, God, when I used to live and work over there in Manhattan, there'd be plenty of times where, like, people would even, like, just like go right into me. So I got into the point of like body checking them, and then they'd be like, "Oh."
I love that. Do you body? You know what? I always want to do this. Yes, and I've seen people do this, and I'm just too afraid to do it because there's just lunatics walking the sidewalk.
They'd be like, some dude would be like,
yes, because they're staring at their phone. Yeah, they're staring at their phone.
Like, yo,
yeah,
move.
I want to carry around one. Yes, and I want to carry around one of those things.
Other thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you have a Bob's Discount Furniture by you, they are awesome, and they also do like a warranty on your product that you buy. So all my couches over the lifetime of every apartment and everything else, I've always gotten Bob's Discount Furniture. But of course, it started in Connecticut and moved its way towards New York. So maybe it's around your area.
Okay.
But it's great quality for a cheap price.
Okay, well, I like that.
And then also, the other thing I wanted to tell you, another pet peeve that I have, I don't know how much driving you do, but I am the road warrior, and I cannot stand when there's this slow driver in the left lane.
Yes.
Like, pull over. You're screwing up all the traffic. That's the passing lane, guys. If there's a 3-lane highway, move over.
Yes.
And a lot of people, when I went from Connecticut and I moved to New York, oh my God, the New York drivers, they just stay in the freaking left lane. And then a lot of people, like, I speak to, like, different friends of mine or whatever, when I moved to New York, they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, that's the passing lane. What does that mean? Oh, did you guys ever go to freaking school for driving education? Like, you use the passing lane, like,
to pass.
You go and you move to the middle lane, and they let the flow of traffic go, so you clear things up. They're like, oh, I didn't know that.
All right.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Lisa. Thanks for calling the other side of midnight. Let's see if there's what's that.
That's the biggest complaint of any New Jerseyan is the left lane hog that goes slow in the left lane.
I think that
and doesn't move over.
I think that no matter where you live, I mean, there's always people.
True, but with the Parkway and the Turnpike, the entire length of the state, I think in Jersey it's even more.
Speaking of the Garden State, Chaim is in New Jersey, and he apparently has his own hate list. And now you are on the other side of midnight.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Do you like the way I said Chaim?
Yes, you said it perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. So regarding the left lane, I think you just break the guy in front of you, and then they usually move over. That's usually how it works. So really, I was calling about the soap. So the soap, I just don't understand how do you use the bar of soap? It gets like all disgusting and nasty, and it's just like gets all the grime on it.
I'm right there with you, but the thing is, I'm the only one using the bar soap, right? So I understand if you had if all my kids were using it, but they're not, they have their own bathroom. I'm the only one using the bar soap. So when I come in sometimes to the shower, early at 3 a.m, sometimes I'll notice that some of my hair is on there.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's not from my head, by the way. So, but I'm like, it's my hair, so it's okay. No big deal. It doesn't bother me.
I know, but if your hair after, let's say you play a nice tennis game or something like that, and you're sweated up and you get that like grimy hair on there, it's kind of nasty.
Well, Chaim, how old are you? Because I think this is an
I'm
age
19.
thing. How old are you?
19.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, see,
19.
there you go. Well, so I got kids that are 19. So they are all about the liquid soap. They think I'm out of my mind that I would use a bar just for the same reason you do. Somehow they've been convinced that it's disgusting that you use a bar soap. So then you pay 4 times of the price for a liquid soap. So you apparently have fallen for this as well, Chaim.
Yeah, but also when you use the liquid soap, you get like a menthol, and it makes your body feel like real fresh.
Really? Okay. Which one do you use? By the way, which brand?
I don't even know, something like SAUG, I think, or something like that.
Huh. So are you not brand loyal? Whatever is the cheapest one you buy?
Yeah, something like that.
All right.
The local Dollar General.
All right, Chaim, thanks for listening to the other side of midnight. What? Go ahead.
I'm actually speaking to you from a flip phone regarding the flip phone.
Oh, wait. So you have? Are you religious?
I am. I'm Orthodox.
Okay. So you're Orthodox, and so people who are Orthodox, if you don't know, if you're listening around the country, a lot of times won't use a smartphone. I guess mostly because of the temptations of a smartphone. Is that right? Am I right saying that?
That from the temptations, and it keeps you like busy with all this garbage, and a lot of the internet is one big piece of garbage these days.
Yeah, well,
so
I have to be honest with you,
a lot
Chaim,
of people try to refrain.
That's the reason I like it, is because it's one piece of garbage. But you're right. It's good that, you know what? Stay with the flip phone, Chaim. You're smart to do that. All right, you are listening to The Other Side of Midnight. Noam Laden in for Frank Morano.
The Other Side of Midnight. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
A little bit of soap will wash away your lipstick.
Look at you, Matt.
But a little bit
I gotta ask you something. You use like an old school brand?
I do. Guess which one I use?
Irish Spring.
No.
Ivory.
Ivory, yeah.
I was teetering.
Yeah.
I used to use Irish Spring.
Yeah.
When I used the bar.
Yeah, it's a little too stinky for me, the Irish Spring.
You don't want to smell like an Irishman?
No, the ivory smells, like not anything
like
really.
Ivory?
Yeah, just fresh and clean. I love my ivory.
Like a baby?
Yeah. We're going through this hate list for the last, I've spent a lot of time with this, haven't I? Dan is in Florida. Now, Dan, you are on the other side of midnight.
Hey, good morning, Noam.
Good morning.
Before I get to my pet peeve, I did read that guy's book that you were talking with.
Oh, you read Johnny's book?
Yeah, I did.
And what did you go
I read
on?
it like last year.
And did you go on Amazon and review it?
I didn't review it, but I did read it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Wow, look at that!
Typical, it's like typical Brooklyn, New York characters.
No, you're not his brother or cousin or something.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm in Key West, Florida. I'm not his brother.
Okay.
But my pet peeve is the wheelchair scam with the airlines.
Oh, what, people pretending like they're in one?
Well, no, that's what happens. I've seen it where 10 wheelchairs get on and only 3 take them off when we land. And the thing with the wheelchair is the whole family goes with them. So you got the mother, you got the father, you got grandma, and you got the kids. You have like 8 people boarding before everybody else.
Isn't that the same thing people do at Disney World, too? They do the wheelchair scam to get to the front of the line.
I am proud to say I've never visited Disneyland. I wouldn't visit Disneyland at gunpoint.
Oh, all right. Well,
when I go to Florida, if I could pay the pilot to not fly over Disneyland, I would do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dan. That's interesting that he read that
Mickey
book.
Mickey Mouse hate.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I never won anything from Disney. I'll never buy anything from Disney.
Wow.
I don't watch Disney movies. Yeah, that's the one thing I thank my parents that they never did take me to Disneyland.
Disney hater. Who knew? I didn't know there was any out there. Pamela is in New Jersey. And now, Pamela, you are on the other side of midnight.
Good morning. When you were talking about sidewalk walking, it made me think of the turn of the century in the 20th century, there used to be a courtesy rule that if you were walking down the sidewalk and it was a man and a woman, the man would take the outside and the woman would take the inside so she wouldn't get splashed with mud from the carriages or be in danger. And I'm thinking just how far we've come from that. But I still think of that. And some men are very chivalrous and gentlemen and go by that rule, and which I like. And of course, most of society does not, unfortunately.
And I'm not going to be very chivalrous right now because I have to hang up on you because it's the top of the hour. But Pamela, I thank you so much for calling in to the other side of midnight. There is a lot more to get to on this Tuesday morning. I want to talk about ageism in the workplace, because it's a big story ever since, of course, President Biden was essentially pushed out of office. And I'm upset about kind of this trend I'm seeing everywhere. We're going to get into that and a whole lot more. It is Noam Laden in for Frank Morano. This is The Other Side of Midnight.
This is The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Now, here's Frank Morano.
Is it mandatory you play this song in the 4 o'clock hour?
It's not mandatory, but I'm figuring it like this. You're just starting your day, so you're not tired.
No, I've got a lot of energy.
I should be tired because this is sort of the end of my day.
Right.
But I'm not tired. So it goes,
that makes me feel
I'm
good.
not tired yet.
Right. Well, you have my permission because I think I'm going to be here all week to not play that song.
Oh, we'll play something else. Yeah, any requests?
No, I'm kidding. You can do whatever you want, actually. Doesn't bother me. You're doing a great job. Noam Laden in for Frank Morano. This is the other side of midnight. Frank has the week off, well-deserved week. He's down at the Jersey Shore popping cans of Tab soda that I guess he got online. He paid a lot of money for because, of course, they don't make Tab anymore, which is just sort of a bizarre story in itself. I have no idea
what's going on.
But it is the reason I love Frank Morano, is that he's a guy who will talk about the fact that he loves Tab soda. I remember drinking that as a kid, by the way. My mother would have it. She had the bottles in the kitchen because my mother was like a skinny little thing and she liked to drink her Tab. And I remember, thinking, oh, Coca-Cola, yes, because we were never allowed it in the house. And I would take a guzzle of that. That was the worst stuff I ever drank. Oh my God, is that awful?
Tab?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I wasn't a Tab guy either. I mean, my mom, I guess, drank diet soda, but in my house we had Coca-Cola.
Oh, well, see, you were lucky.
Yeah, and 7-Up. My dad used to drink a lot of 7-Up.
No,
and then Cherry 7-Up. Remember Cherry 7-Up?
Yes, I would have. You were probably the house that had a lot of snacks in the snack drawer too, right?
Well, we had snacks, but my mom was very. She made sure there was the rule. And here was the rule. The rule was when you came home from school, you were allowed to have a snack. The snack could either be a sweet or a fruit.
Right.
Now, if you elected to have the sweet...
Well, this is very complicated here, but go ahead.
If you elected to have the sweet after school, it meant after dinner, you had to have a fruit.
Right.
That was the rule.
So what did you do? Did you do the fruit before the snack or the snack?
I would do the fruit, but then as I got older, you start breaking the rules.
Yeah, of course, because you figure out a way around it.
Right, and we always had Entenmann's donuts in my house. That was my dad's favorite.
Geez, what I would have done to grow up in your house. We were denied all that stuff. So then the minute that I would show up in the house, we would, down an entire box in like 10 seconds. Like a can of soda, that never was at the kitchen table. Once in a long while, maybe there was a barbecue or something, be a can of soda, it was like... I couldn't get it into my system fast enough.
Just water?
Yeah, water. Milk? I think there was milk sometimes, but we were kosher. So if there was a meat meal, you couldn't have milk. So there'd be like water or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had soda in the house. I didn't drink a lot of soda as a kid. I drank mostly probably juice and milk. And then as you get older, that kind of just goes away. And we didn't have soda. I see like kids that had soda machines in school. Right. We didn't have that.
No.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You had milk. You had like a half a pint of chocolate milk.
Yeah, that pint was so small. It was like having like just a little bit of milk, not enough to quench your thirst, but just here's a little bit of the tiny little milk. And they gave you that little plastic straw that went little through that hole. And that one, you really just one slurp and you were totally done with the milk. But I guess you were little and maybe it didn't make that big of a deal. And people drank from water fountains back then. So you'd fill yourself up on the water fountain. I was, reading this story about this 97-year-old judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit. And there are people trying to push her out of her job. This has become, you think it stopped with President Joe Biden, and whatever you think about President Joe Biden, whether you think he should be in the White House or not, part of the reason he was yanked from the job is because he's old. Right. And obviously, a big part of it is the fact that there may not be the mental facilities that were once there. But ignore that for a moment. We just don't like old people in America. That's what it comes down to. And now you think it ends with Joe Biden. It continues. This 97-year-old judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit Court. Her name is Judge Pauline Newman. Now they're going after her. Now she's been there forever. She was appointed by Ronald Reagan back in the 80s. And now they're trying to push Judge Pauline Newman to take part in this probe of her mental fitness. And they say if she doesn't take part in this probe of her mental fitness, and I think when you talk to people who are around her, some will tell you it only has to do with the fact that she's got the numbers 97 in front of her name, that she's 97 years old. It has nothing to do with the fact that she has the ability to do this gig and has been doing it since the 1980s, that they want her out, that the younger generation should get a chance at this job. So I asked all these questions about the fact that ageism is just huge in the workplace, that here they are, they're going after this 97-year-old woman, Judge Pauline Newman. By the way, I reached out to her to see if she would chat with us on the other side of the midnight, and her response was, I'm not getting up at 4 a.m. to talk to you. And I said, well, you could pre-record. She's like, I'm not pre-recording with you. So she didn't really want to talk about it because it's real for her. It's real. They're coming for her. And she will tell you, and her closest family members say it has nothing to do with the fact that she has the abilities to do the job. She says, I have the same abilities that I did back in the 80s when Ronald Reagan appointed me to the U.S. Court of Appeals for Federal Circuit. But because I'm 97, there are youngins who want my job. So I ask you this question. Is it time for her to leave? Should she have to leave? Should there be an age limit where you're pushed out of this gig, right? Now you're hearing President Biden yesterday talking about the Supreme Court, these terms that are just 18 years. Some of that has to do with age as well. But I wonder, it's hard enough for somebody like this 97 to hold on to her job when people are saying you need to take these, which I think is insulting, the mental fitness exam. I mean, if she's on these cases and she's making verdicts and decisions that make sense, then it seems that they're only going after her for her age. And I wonder, there's probably a fair amount of you out there who have dealt with this or are dealing with this right now, that there's this push any way they can figure it out that you won't come back and sue them to get you out of your job. 646-720-0635. So she's one of the people that is involved in this case. They want to take her off the bench. Don't know whether they're going to be able to do it. And there's all kinds of studies that I found from AARP, which with that, one of the more horrible moments, by the way, in my life was when I got a letter from them asking me if I wanted to join AARP because I realized I was that old.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
When I got that letter, first of all, it was before I turned 50, so I was like, who are these people sending me this thing? What nerve of them? And now I'll get stuff like, if you're over 60, and I'm like, no, I'm not over 60.
Right.
Like, stop.
I passed the 50 mark. Right.
Stop already.
Right. I passed 50, and I don't feel like I'm over 50. I don't feel like I'm 50 at all. But
me either. I'm still like 25.
Yes.
My head.
Right.
You know that I can't judge people's age anymore because of this. Because I feel like for my age, and people do tell me this, I'm not making this up, that I don't look like a 54-year-old.
Okay, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Everybody tells you that.
Do you think that? But
I get that all the time.
But if you saw me walking down the street, you didn't know me from a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Would you look at me and think, "Oh, that guy's like in his 50s"?
Yeah. Huh?
You would.
Yeah. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah, you're just saying that.
Look at me. If I was walking down the street, wouldn't you say, "Oh, yeah, that guy looks like he's around my age"?
Yeah, I would.
Oh, you're not going to be nice.
But
what?
Here's the thing. I see people that are younger than us or our age, and I go, "Wow, look at that old lady," and she's younger than me.
Yeah.
So, and I see people that I grew up with that I go, "Oh my God, what happened to them? Like they look like they're 70 years old."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "We're the same age." Well, I don't get it.
Some people just, they don't have good genes. They don't take care of themselves. But
that's true.
I worry because we're now, I think, we've given the signal that it's okay to go after these older workers and to push them out of the job. And it's more true now than ever because people are holding on to their jobs longer because they're healthier and they're more fit and they can stay in the workplace. I mean, there's other people, of course, who can't wait to retire. But there's a lot of people who say, I love what I do every day. That includes me. And I want to keep doing this until I really can't do it anymore. And so how do they make that decision? Are you getting in the way of the generation after you from excelling in the workplace? Because it used to be, the thought is that your biggest moments earning money in the workplace was in your late 40s until your early to mid 50s. That's when your earning power was supposed to be, if you're in the corporate world anyway, not in our world when you never make any money, but the corporate world, from the late 40s to early 50s was when you had your highest earning potential. But now that number is moved because people are staying longer in the workplace. But what happens is, and a whole bunch of people responded to me via email when I was asking them. I reached out to some of these people who, again, said, when I lost my job in my late 50s and early 60s, it was almost impossible for me to get another one, even though I had every skill that was advertised in the employment ad, that all they cared about was youth. And a lot of times the HR people who were making these decisions were people who were the same age as the people who they were keeping out of the workplace. People who were in their late 50s or early 60s were so attracted to youth. And the younger generation, I remember, by the way, being the younger generation thinking, "Oh, would you get out of the way? It's my turn." I do remember thinking that. I totally do remember thinking that. So curious to hear if you had that happen to you as well. 646-720-0635. Let's go to Robert, who is in Long Beach. Robert, you're now on the other side of midnight.
Thank you for taking my call. I don't think it's the age. It's the conductive thinking, because Dr. Fauci is older than Biden.
Right.
And I went to a Rolling Stone concert last year. Mick Jagger is older and Mick Jagger was flipping and dancing all over the stage for 2.5 hours. So it's not the age. I think what affected Biden was the 2 surgeries, neurosurgeries he had in the 80s.
That might be it. But have you had that? How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I look like I'm 45. I'm 63.
Wait a minute. So are you like Matt, where you think you look like you're 45, but you actually look like you're in your 60s?
No, what scares me is that I have younger guys that I'm supervised for. I'm the supervisor. And we had a push-up contest. And they were shocked at the 60 push-ups, 70 push-ups that I can do.
Oh, I love that. You kicked their ass. I like that. That's great.
Well, I didn't kick their ass, but I kept up with them. And it's a way of thinking and a matter of mind. But I don't drink. I don't smoke. I eat garbage, but...
Are you still working?
Yes.
What do you do? What kind of work
now?
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a shop steward for postal and TSA and federal employees.
Right. So at some point you have to retire, right? Or no?
Yeah, but there's some, and also, another group that you can never tell their age, Asians. I have some Chinese women and men on my job. I'm shocked when I look at their paperwork. They're like in their 70s, but they don't look like, they're like in their 50s.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
40s.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in their 40s, and they eat steamed rice and vegetables every day. There's no fast food, maybe once in a blue moon. They drink, maybe wine. They don't smoke. Very few do smoke. But I think it's DNA and how you take care of yourself, too. So,
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're 63, but look like you're 45, which, by the way, if it's anything like Matt Blaze, you probably look closer to your age, just like I do, by the way. I don't think I'm fooling anybody. People look at me and they're like, yeah, he looks like he's a guy in his 50s. Let's see if I'm going to get this name right. Melchior, you are in Manhattan. Did I totally butcher your name?
No, you did it perfectly.
Really?
Noam Laden, I tell you, you are having an outstanding program.
Really?
I really call to compliment you because you're doing such an outstanding job.
Wow.
You're unpretentious,
Are we related?
genuine, warm.
Right.
I have great appreciation for the way that you handle whatever topic it is, because you're very, very genuine the way that you come across. And that, I think, is one of the hallmarks about the way that you're doing whatever topic it is that you have been handling this week. I've been enjoying it so much.
Gosh.
I can't have enough compliments for you.
Well,
thank
keep
you
going.
so much.
No, you can keep going if you want, if you have more if you have more compliments.
Well,
wait, so is it Melchior? Is I saying that right?
Yes, that's precise. It's an ancient Hebrew name.
I was going to say it sounds
it's
Hebrew.
also part of the Christian tradition. One of the three kings who heralded the birth of Jesus. But actually, I'm Jewish. But I only found out about the name later on. But I don't want to concentrate on that. I just have so much admiration for the way that you're handling everything that you do, and you and Matt Blaze. I mean, you're a wonderful. You're a wonderful team.
Well,
I
thank
wish
you much.
that you would be able to continue your program and perhaps get a permanent spot on the daily basis or a weekly basis. I think it would really be adding a great deal positivity to your station, and I really want to commend you for the way that you're doing.
Oh, well, I have 40 minutes left. You can keep going if you want.
No,
thank you. That's very nice of you. It's really nice of you to call.
Absolutely sincere.
Okay.
And whatever topic it is that you handle, you're just very, very genuine.
Wow, okay.
There's no... it's so unpretentious. It's so normal.
I gotta stop you.
It's abnormal that it's so normal.
Okay. Well, listen. I'm gonna hire you. You'll get 10%, and if I get a gig somewhere, I'll give you 10% for that.
I could listen to you all day. I'm telling you.
Thank you very much. You sound like, unfortunately, my mom who passed away not too long ago. Melchior sounds like my mom who would also say this to me. She would listen to me in Israel. My parents are Israeli. And she would say, oh, you're the greatest, but it was my mother. So it's nice to hear from somebody who's not my mother say that. All right. So we're talking about this ageism in the workplace. And I think, with everything going on with Joe Biden, whatever you thought of him, now going on with this judge, we're seeing other examples of people saying they're being pushed out only because of the number, not because of their abilities to do the job. And it seems to be a growing trend, according to an AARP survey. But I want to get... do
you think it's just age, or do you think it's because they know if they get somebody younger, they can pay them less?
Well, that's part of it. I'm sure they absolutely 100% will pay that person less.
Right. If you're doing the job for 20 plus years and you get let go and then you're looking for a new job, you're going to be commanding a salary with your experience. And the way of thinking of these companies will be like, well, we're just going to get somebody fresh out of school that's going to do it for a quarter of the price,
but not do it as well.
But they'll be okay.
Yeah, but you block them out. I see what you're saying, but to have the expertise of somebody in the workplace, and just because you're getting rid of them, absolutely, some of it has to do with salary. But you talk to some of these people that say no, that people who followed them up were getting around the same amount of money. Maybe there's a little savings on them, but that they were just booted out because they were too old. Steve is in Manhattan, and now, Steve, you are on the other side of midnight.
All right, Noam and Matt, you guys are two professionals. First, I can give you a music song. How about Brownsville Station, Smoking in the Boys' Room?
Oh, I love that song.
Take it from the Midnight Special, where the where Cubby speaks to the audience for a couple of seconds. It's excellent.
All right.
The thing with age, all right, first of all, we would want an age requirement with the 101st Airborne, of course, and Joe Biden is in the federal government for 50 years, and he's talking about to throwing the judges out of there. But the thing is, you have to realize a lot of it has to do with competence. A lot of people do not like working around people who are incompetent. It does not matter how old they are. And the thing with Matt talking about how old you look, you got to gauge. If you think you look young, if you're a dude, a guy, if the young chicks are looking at you, then you do look young, unless they know you're a billionaire or something. But the thing is also, there's a flip side to it too with women. There's a lot of things, like working at home. We could have done that 20 years ago, but the big office managers wanted to cherry pick the beautiful women. There's two sides to that coin, guys.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that, Steve, for that comment on the other side of midnight. Yeah, I think if the women are attracted to you, that's sort of interesting. Then maybe you look a little bit younger than your age. I don't have that problem. Being attracted to even my wife.
No women have told me that.
Right.
But I will tell you that listen. I don't like saying that about myself because of what you just said. No, you actually do look your age. And if I do, I do. I don't really care. But I will tell you this. When I first started working here, it was around 9/11. And I remember I was sitting here with a bunch of the people that work here, and they're younger, and they were saying, well, where were you? I said, yeah, 9/11 was kind of crazy. And they said, well, where were you? What were you doing? And this one's going, oh, I was in third grade.
Yeah, of course.
I was in second grade.
Right, I was born.
In first grade.
Right.
And then they looked at me and they said, well, how old are you? How old were you? And I go,
you just lie, I hope.
31.
Yeah.
And they looked at me and they went, are you kidding me? They were like, we thought you were like 36.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Another people thinking you're younger than you are.
That's what they told. That's what they told me.
All right, but I'm just telling you, if I was walking down the street, Matt Blaze, I would say he looks like he's my age. He's in his 50s.
Get those glasses checked, Noam.
Did I take the break here? I'm supposed to take a break. I'm going to do that. All right, taking a break here. Got more to get to. Noam Laden in on what is a Frank-free Tuesday on the other side of midnight.
The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
Oh, how you doing out there? You ever seem to have one of those days where it just seems like everybody's getting on your case, from your teacher all the way down to your best girlfriend?
Yeah.
Well, I used to have them just about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I found a way to get out of it. Let me tell you about it. Sitting in the classroom thinking it's a drag. Listening to the teacher.
No, were you smoking in the boys' room?
I was not. I was never a smoker.
Me either. Well, after high school, but not in high school.
I was laughing myself through this break. Oh, by the way, you're listening to The Other Side of Midnight. Noam Laden in for Frank Morano. Laughing to myself when we went to the break that Matt, who I love, by the way, and hopefully he won't hate me after this, continues to believe that guys or gals look at him and think he's much younger. Oh, you know what? Elias. The first time, Elias, you met Matt Blaze, you must have had a thought in your head of how old he is. Now, I'm guessing your parents, because how old are you, 22 or something like that?
22, yeah.
22. So your parents are like my age, right?
Just about, yeah.
So when you looked at Matt Blaze the first time you met him, you thought, hey, he looks like my dad's age, right?
No, I was like, God, what a fossil. No. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
Yes, see, there you go.
Yeah.
And same with me, right? You looked at me and you said, he looks like my dad's age, right?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. See, you're not fooling anybody.
I thought you looked older than me.
You did?
I think everybody looks older than me at this point.
So this ageism in the workplace, we've been talking about this over the last 15, 20 minutes. This one judge on the Circuit of Appeals trying to push her out, make her take some sort of mental test that she would have to pass. She's fighting not to take it. She was assigned a long time ago in the 80s by Ronald Reagan. That's how long she's been there. And I say, well, look, if she can do the job, she should be able to. And then I'm hearing from other people who say, yes, they've been pushed out. They're convinced because of their age. But it's an incredibly hard thing to prove because HR can come up with all kinds of creative ways to show why and why they want to get rid of you. And they'll use it as your performance thing. So we're going to take some of your calls, 646-720-0635. You're listening to The Other Side of Midnight. Let's go to Mike. Mike is in Pennsylvania, and you are on the other side of midnight.
Yeah, how you doing? One reason why a lot of people who work, past the retirement age and all, they need medical insurance.
Yeah.
The Social Security isn't all that great either. You know what I mean? And they need to survive. And that's why you got them out there working.
Are you?
Joe Biden, he would. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, are you one of those people who's still working?
Oh yeah, I'm still working. Yeah, in my younger days, I had a lot of fun in my younger days. Now you got to pay for them. Some people ain't. You know what I'm saying?
How old are you? How old are you, Mike?
66 now.
And what are you doing? What kind of work?
I'm a service manager.
What is that? I don't know what that means. What's a service manager?
I don't want to get into it because I'll be advertising. You know what I mean? And I don't want to. I'm friends with your boss, Mr. Casimir.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I got you. I'm following you.
And what? No, it's okay. And then so that if I always say if I work till I'm 100 years old, okay, that meant I had a good life because I could get up and go to work till 100. But here's the thing, also, when you talk about, I was that kind of guy. I thought, I still look young. I still look young. And now I look in 20 years, I'm 86. That starts to get. But I knew I was getting old when I watched my grandson play ball one day, and they were coming in, to take their at bats. And this one kid on the team goes, hey, he called me by my last name. Hey, Mr. So-and-so. I look, I said, this kid, I don't know this kid. He was saying it to my son. My son was sick.
Right.
That's when you know you're getting old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Another way getting old is when you take a woman out and she says, go back to the house. I forgot my teeth. Now you know you're getting old.
Very nice. All right, Mike, thanks for calling the other side of midnight. Let's see. I'm always amazed by, and I'm curious to see, I'm looking at the list of people who have called in to 646-720-0635 for the chance to get on the air and how long people will wait on hold. So now, in the first hour, I talked and I gave a list of things that I hate because I got caught at maybe too pricey of a Mexican restaurant for a celebration with a QR code menu, and I just was completely annoyed by the fact that they didn't give me a piece of paper with the menu items on it, and I started listing all the things that I hate. Now it's now 34 minutes after the hour, and that was now almost an hour and a half ago. So Matthew is on the Upper West Side, and you've now been holding on for 47 minutes, which I think is unbelievable. And how could I deny you a moment on the air when you've been holding on for so long? Go ahead, Matthew.
Well, I love your show, and I'm not going to be like your agent. My gosh, he went on and on. And
yeah, Melchior, yeah.
Program, but I do not like when you order something. I travel around the country, and I'm here in New York now, and I go to a nice restaurant, very nice restaurant, and instead of holding the wine list, because I like to discuss the wine and, chatter amongst my guests, I've got this gal who comes over, and good gosh, I felt bad for her because she couldn't have been more than 100 pounds dripping wet, and she's got this, big tablet on her wrist, and she's like, well, this is our wine list, and I'm like, this is not the same. And she's like, oh, yeah, and you have to enter a username and password in order to, peruse the wine. I don't like it. I don't like the whole, call me old, call me an old man,
but I like to sit there with an actual printed out wine list.
Yeah.
To just.
I totally get that. So wait, Matthew, I lived on the Upper West Side of Manhattan for a fair amount of time until I moved out. And I don't remember anybody having an accent like yours on the Upper West Side. You sound like you're not an original Manhattanite.
Well, a lot of people confuse this with a Southern. It's a Western accent. I'm from California.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds kind of Southern, actually. The more you talk, I can hear a little bit of that California thing happening. But it's funny. I'm not the first person who says, "Hey, where are you from?" I hear the accent right away, right?
Most people think I'm from down south, but I'm like, no, I'm from San Diego, California.
You're kidding? How did you get that accent in San Diego? Oh my God! I mean, it's nothing wrong with the accent. It sounds nice, but it does sound very Southern.
I'm a little cowboy town outside of San Diego.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah, it's a Western accent.
Right. All right. Thank you, Matthew, on the Upper West Side, my old stomping grounds. Joaquin, you are on the other side of midnight.
Hey, Norm, you know what? I actually called to talk about, the slow drivers in the left-hand lane.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to be 65 in August, okay? And when I was 55, I felt like $1 million. And when I was in 61, I was able to do 500 to 800 push-ups a day. But for some reason, I got injured when I was younger. And my injuries are catching up to me, and now I'm falling apart.
Wait, so this is what I have to look forward to? Are you trying to make me feel bad about myself? Because I'm a big workout fiend now, but that's going to go all downhill when? 60, 61?
Well, for me it did. 61, 62.
What? And so
started going downhill. But part of the reason is because I got shot when I was 17 years old.
Oh, my God. Jeez. Wait, I got to hear this story. Where'd you get shot?
Well, you see, what happened was I went deer hunting. And I actually signed up for the Marine Corps. And I was on a delayed enlistment program. I went deer hunting day after Thanksgiving. And somebody shot me through the leg, but he hit my sciatic nerve. And so I've had some really serious issues with it throughout my life. And I always remember calling the Marine Corps recruit. I signed up. I was obligated to go. I called the sergeant. I said, "Listen, I'm not going to the Marines anymore." And he goes, "Oh, why not?" Sarcastically. I said, "Well, because I got shot deer hunting, and I might not be able to use my left leg anymore."
Yikes. So who shot you? Like a friend of yours you were hunting with, a hunting buddy?
No, I have no idea. I don't know who shot me. I was just walking downhill through an open area, more or less, and from out of nowhere, I got hit. Never knew who shot me.
Wow. Wait, so so you're saying that go ahead, I'm sorry.
I thought I was going to die because I could see where the bullet came out, but I couldn't see where it went in. And I thought I was bleeding to death because I was wearing like 3 or 4 pairs of pants, and I was sitting in some muck, and it was really deep. And I'm just sitting there, and I grabbed my rifle, and I fired a bunch of shots, and I was like, "You shot me, you blank, blank, blank."
And so you saw the person that shot you, or no?
No, I did not.
Huh. I mean, now you know how the deer feel, huh? I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah, no, I went. I didn't want to believe that it happened, so I went to try and keep walking. I was like, this didn't happen. So I tried walking, and I'm sitting on my leg afterwards. It just collapsed under me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, the bullet smashed, blew my leg apart. Where I grabbed my rifle, man, I pumped around there. I was like, "You shot me, you blank, blank, blank."
Wow. That's an intense story.
Anyway, no. But you see, the bitch of it is I hit my sciatic nerve, and that's why I had so many problems throughout my life. But, I spent a year laid up in bed. I gave up psychologically because I was in so much pain for a long time. But anyway, so...
But you made it to 61, and now everything's okay, right? I mean, you're saying...
No, now it's not okay anymore.
Oh.
Now my back is... my back, my hips, and my knees are completely falling apart.
What, did you call in to depress me? I mean, don't get me wrong, Joaquin. I mean, you sound like a nice guy, but this whole story is kind of depressing.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Let me ask you one thing, because I got to keep going here. Did you go out hunting again? Are you still a hunter after all that?
Yes.
You didn't learn your lesson.
I'm actually, I've done trick shooting performances for the last 15 years. I could pull 2 pistols and hit 2 targets at the same time. and shoot 2 out of the air with 2 pistols simultaneously.
I got to see that. Can you send me video of that?
Where do I send it to?
I don't know. Where does he send it to? To me? Oh. All right.
Anyway, no, but I want to call about the slow drivers.
Go
I've
ahead.
been a tractor-trailer driver for 40 some odd years.
Right.
You know who causes the accidents? It ain't the guy that's going fast. It's the guy that's going slow in the left hand or the second hand lane.
Yeah.
They're frustrated. You know how much road rage those people cause?
Yeah. Oh, I imagine. Bad stuff.
And can you imagine you're going down the road with an 18-wheeler, you know, and then you get some schmuck who insists on being in the, well, if it's 3-lane road with a tractor trailer, you're not allowed with a truck in the 3rd lane, you know, 2nd lane, 1st lane. And then you're sitting there and then you got some schmuck that's thinking, oh, well, the speed limit's 55 and I'm doing the speed limit, you know?
Right. That was my mother, by the way. So if you wanted to yell, she was like that. I don't understand why these people are tailgating me. It's because you're in a lane you're not supposed to be in. But she'd be like, I'm going the speed limit. Joaquin, best of luck to you. Thanks for calling in, and what a wild story you got there. Tony is in Florida. We were talking about ageism this hour, and Tony, you are now live on the other side of midnight. Uh-oh.
I love listening to your voice.
Oh, thank you.
You're great. Okay.
Well, thank you, Tony.
You're welcome. And I'm 65, and growing up in the 60s and 70s, and up until recently, the older you were doing something, the more admired you were. I mean, I remember in years past, somebody 97 still doing that job would be praised, and people would look at them in awe and like, how do you do it? And nowadays, it's the opposite. It's like, if you're older, suddenly, thanks to Biden, you must be senile or something.
It really was like that at one time. I know there's certain societies where people really respect their elders. That we are not one of them. But there was a time in America when we did.
Yes. Oh, yes.
When was this? When was this?
Remember, you were there. Don't you remember?
I don't know. I feel like anytime I was on this planet, it was all about youth. That's all anybody cared about.
Yeah. Well, you're in a different state. I grew up in Ohio and moved to Florida, and a different type of work than I was in. So, but I grew up and we were taught to respect older people because the older you get, the wiser you are. And that's the way I always looked at it. I never thought like, don't trust people over 30. This was silly.
Right.
When I was working as a park ranger and I had to hire somebody, I preferred somebody about 40 or over. Okay, I mean, I didn't discriminate on age, but I was happy to see somebody that had some experience, especially dealing with people.
You were a park ranger? Wait, can we stop right there? What kind of park ranger were you?
Well, the kind that collected the money at the front gate.
Oh, you were that kind of park ranger. Oh, boy.
Yeah. And so my husband did it for a few years after I'd married him. And then I went on to become a police officer in the city. Oh. But he did it until he retired. Huh. He was a firefighter in law enforcement. And he's almost 80.
Wow.
Now.
And he's still working?
No, he's not. However, he has terminal cancer, but it's the kind that can be kept at bay with chemo.
Oh, that's good.
For a long time, yeah.
All right,
and we were at his doctor's. Pardon me?
I was going to say, I only wish him the best of health, and it's, of course, always good to talk to you, Tony, in Florida. 646-720-0635. We've been talking about ageism. I had my list of things that I hate, and everybody seems to want to respond to all that. And since we don't have a whole lot of time left, let's keep going because I see people are waiting on hold. Jimmy is on Staten Island, and now, Jimmy, you are on the other side of midnight.
Good morning, Noam Laden, and your screen caller is a great guy, and Matt Blaze, I don't know if they're one and the same or two different people, but I have to tell you, Noam, when I met you, it was about 20 years ago.
Right.
And when I saw you, I said, wow, this guy's voice, it don't look anything like his voice.
Oh, it's so disappointing.
You look like you were about 15.
Yeah, it is the most disappointing thing. Mm-hmm.
You had blue jeans on and a nice shirt, and I was like, if I'm right, you had all your hair up in a with a bobby pin. I'm joking. You had no hair. No, Age to me, you ready for the old story?
Right.
Age is only a number. I'm 61. And a lot of people tell me, I go, how old do I look? And I say, watch what you say because your life depends on it. But I'm 61, and I agree with Matt. It's how you feel. I know kids at 23, 25. They're in the bed. They don't want to get up. They don't move. They have no energy. And here I am. Come on, let's go. Let's do. Let's get. But today's generation, I call it like a degeneration. Nobody plays wiffle ball in the streets no more. No one plays stickball in the streets. No one rides a bike on a Saturday like all our friends used to meet. So I think everything's a sign of the times. And as far as that judge goes, or the appellate judge, I believe you said, I mean, let's face it. Who was that other one that sat at the edge of the chair all my life, the Supreme Court judge that passed away? I forget her name.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Right. I mean, let's face it. She wrote, she did everything she had to do. Of course, she had no fingerprints at that point, but they didn't throw her out. She passed away.
Yeah.
God took her, and enough is enough. But that is job discrimination and age discrimination.
Now, you're not
the
under...
Asian people, they revere their elderly. They take care of them. Only here they want to take them and throw them in a tar pit over 45 years old. You know what I'm saying?
You're not under the illusion like Matt is. That you said you're 61, right?
Absolutely.
And you look 61, right?
Me?
Yeah.
I look 161.
There you go. All right. Jimmy, thanks.
No. I feel good. I look good. No, I don't think I look bad for my age. Once I put my teeth in, my hearing aid, and my prosthetic on, I'm fine.
All right, Jimmy.
No, listen, age is a number. God bless you.
God bless you.
Don't mind me calling.
Of course, you can call whenever you want, Jimmy. You're welcome in here at the other side of midnight. Let's keep going. Do I need to take a break here? I probably do, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Good idea.
All right. Let's take a break. We'll get to your calls. I got more to say before we head out. And by the way, if you are in New York, or by the way, even if you're not in New York, you get a bonus hour because I normally do the 5 o'clock hour, do the news hour here at the home station, WABC. And if you're out of market, you're listening to us in one of the tons of markets that are being heard, and you can then tune in if you liked what you heard here and then hear me do the news, which is a whole different sort of animal, and I'm going to do that in about 12 minutes from now. Hopefully I'll be able to figure out how to get that all done while I'm doing the show. We'll hopefully figure that out. All right, you're listening to The Other Side of Midnight.
The Other Side of Midnight. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
Old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you.
Oh, God. I love Neil Young. God, do I love Neil Young. This is such a great song.
Old man, look at my life.
This is what I feel like now. Old man.
Yeah, sorry. Just had to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, it wasn't me who said this stuff.
No, you're
People
the one
said
who
it to me.
Right, and I just had to set you straight that you look like you don't look exactly your age, but you look your age. So do I. So don't feel bad.
Well, you can. I can.
We were talking about ageism in the workplace. I should point out, by the way, that my father, who is 92 years old, still goes to work every single day. He is a cosmetic chemist. And what's been interesting is he invents cosmetic products or works on cosmetic products, works for a cosmetic company. And he's told me a number of times he's actually gone to the boss and said, I don't want to stand in the way of somebody who wants this gig. Anytime you want to get rid of me, it's okay. I'm coming to work because it's something I still enjoy doing. And they were, which is great. They were like, no, we don't have you here just to have you around. We have you around because you're an expert in what you do. And so, no, we don't want to get rid of you. So, I mean, there are people who, in his case, they love having him in the workplace. And what's been fun for me is the times that I've visited him. My parents live in Israel. The times I've visited him in Israel and gone to his workplace, it's always fun to see all these like young women gathering around this guy, because
he's like a rock star.
He really is a rock star. It's kind of fun to watch. So there is that bonus of staying in the workplace is it makes you feel young. He said to me once recently, he said, when I walk the streets of Haifa, that's where he lives, people will look at me as an old man. But when I go to work, they treat me like a peer. And I thought, wow, that blew my mind totally. I said, that is 100% correct. We got a few more moments. Let's go to Danny. Danny is in Maryland, and now, Danny, you are on the other side of midnight. Good morning, Danny.
Hey, how you doing?
Good
this morning.
I'm doing just fine.
I just wanted to say that my mother is 97 years old.
Yikes!
And she still lives alone.
Right.
She's pretty sharp. Lives over in Bethany Beach, Delaware. She's still pretty sharp. And I'm 64. And I feel it. I feel 64.
Right,
so,
but she doesn't.
So, no. So she's got more energy than my brothers and sisters and I. But
good for her.
Yeah, so I'm feeling pretty. And you and Matt, I looked you up to see what you, because I like to put a face to a name.
Sure, and it's frightening, right?
So you both look pretty young. So you all look good. And
Danny's my new hero.
Danny, can I tell you, I've been doing this radio thing for a long time, like 20 years now. And invariably, you meet people who've listening to you for years. I've been on in New York for, 20 years now, so no more than that, maybe. Jeez, a long time. So people will come up, they're excited to meet you, and there's that look of utter disappointment every single time because they hear me and they're like, oh, this guy's going to be drop dead gorgeous. And then they see this midget of 5'6", a bald guy.
Man.
I mean, I'm in good shape, so that helps. But and there's just look of disappointment. I always say the same thing. I'm like, really, every single time I look at them and I'm like, disappointed, huh? And of course, they always say, no, you look great. But no, they are totally disappointed, just like you were, Danny.
Well, the other thing, real quick, I hope you be the permanent fill-in for Frank.
Oh, permanent fill-in. Yeah, that's fine.
Permanent fill-in, just a fill-in, like when he's off on vacation. That would be great. And I agree with you about that song, the Reverend Jeter, that song. Get rid of that song.
Yes. There you go. Danny, what part of Maryland are you from, by the way?
I live in Cecil County, Maryland. It's near Rising Sun.
I know Rising Sun.
Rising Sun, Maryland.
Yes, Rising Sun is near the summer camp I went to in Bel Air, which is not far away.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know Rising Sun well.
I'm right across the Susquehanna River from Bel Air.
Now, wasn't Rising Sun at one point the place where the KKK had a big group, or am I just making that up out of my top of my head?
No. You're absolutely correct.
Oh, look at that.
It's still got that stigma attached to it. There's still a few of them left.
You're not a member, or no?
No. I'm from Harford County. I'm from Haverty Grace. From Haverty Grace, Maryland.
Oh, okay. So you're closer to Baltimore then.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Danny, thanks for calling the other side of mine, and good to hear about your mother. And Bethany Beach is so beautiful. No wonder she's wild and kicking. It's such a beautiful place to live, Bethany Beach. Mike is in South Carolina, and now, Mike, you are on the other side of midnight.
Hey, Noam. Good morning. I've been listening to WABC for 30 years, and I've heard you do the updates, and you got a chunk of time, 20 years. I met Curtis 20 years ago at Penn Station. I worked New York City Transit when I started, and then I retired Metro North Management. And you know what? I was a drummer, too, played college baseball, whatever. Neil Young, old man, look at my life. And that was moving what you said about your dad, 92.
Yeah.
And he's living in Israel with mom, God bless. And my mother, she passed away October, it'll be 2 years. She was 90. And every time I watched the show, Everybody Loves Raymond, that was where mom grew up, Lynbrook. And I got to give a shout out, a caller before about the call screener, Elias. Elias. And my man, Matt, is aces with the music. And Matt, I'll never forget on Dominic Carter's show with Danny Willis and her beau, and he did an imitation of Barry White. No, I laughed off my chair.
Wait, Matt did an imitation of Barry White?
Yeah, Barry White.
What, you've been holding out on us, Matt? I didn't know you did Barry White. Mike, what part of South Carolina are you in?
I am in a town called Little River, just north of North Myrtle Beach. I grew up in Nassau County.
Oh, okay. And everybody's doing that train. I lived in Charleston for a while, so I know that area well. Everybody's doing that thing, leaving New York, going down to South Carolina. It's such a great place to live. I don't blame you for doing so.
Oh, yeah. And there were some people here. I know you're finishing up. There were some people here who are still fighting the Civil War. One guy said to me, I'm having coffee. Well, are you a Yankee? I said, what? I'm north of the Mason-Dixon, man. That's what I am.
Yeah.
I said, what do you...
The War of the States is what they call it there. They don't call it even the Civil War. They call it the War of the States.
The word is right. I know. And I'm down here 2 years so far. Okay. And I said, hey, man, are you still fighting the Civil War? Why don't you do a reenactment? Because the last I read, The gray coat's lost, okay? So get a life and get a hobby. All right, no.
All right, take it easy. It sounds like a good life down. Oh, man. Boy, South Carolina's such a beautiful place to live. Should we have time for one more? All right, let's do one more. Pat is in... sorry. But is it too late? All right. Pat, you are in Memphis. I didn't mean to say I didn't want to talk to you, but now you are on the other side of midnight.
Yes, thank you. I'm a bar soap girl myself.
See?
And I miss the old lava soap.
Yes.
You remember that?
I remember lava soap was
like it had sand in it.
It did.
And it was for I raised 4 sons, and of course I had a husband, and whenever they'd be tinkering on the cars, they would come in and reach for the lava soap.
Lava soap was like Doctor, and thank you, Pat, was like that was the soap that would get the grease off. It was and had this gritty sort of feeling. She's right. It almost felt like there was like sand inside the soap bar. And it is interesting that everybody that agrees with me that soap gets you cleaner, a soap bar gets you cleaner.
Ain't nothing going to get you cleaner after you've been tinkering.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. After you've been
soap.
tinkering. Yeah. You've been tinkering. All right. It's been fun hanging out with you these last couple hours. Thank you, Frank, for taking time off so I could have a little fun in the middle of the night. And I think I'll be back, and maybe I'll even do this again tomorrow. In for Frank Morano, this is The Other Side of Midnight.